Happy Saturday. I'm the Grace Strega, and I'm here to give you your daily collective read for today, Saturday, April 5th, 2025. We are going to get started on today's daily collective read in the next few minutes. But before we begin, the list the list is open as always. It is 3 cards for a donation of 28 or more, 4 cards for a donation of 22 or more for my subscribers, thanks in my bio. Please keep in mind there are 2 things I do not read for across these apps. Those are pregnancy and medical. Happy to give insight on anything in private readings, and you can book a private reading on my site. We are also doing 2 giveaways today. Our first giveaway is we will be doing a giveaway when we get to 50K likes. So make sure that you're tapping that screen. We will get to 50K in no time. The other giveaway we are going to be having is we will be doing a giveaway for whoever gives the highest gift between now and the conclusion of the daily collective read. So I wish you a lot of luck in winning that as well. But as I mentioned, the list is open if you would like to get on the list for today. I will also point out the list is going to be really, really short today, okay? So if you want to get on the list, do so sooner rather than later to secure your spot. We do angelic readings here. We do highest priority messages from spirit. We do mediumship. We do dream interpretation. We do past life reading. We also do love reading. The only things we do not read for here are pregnancy and medical. Now, if you would like to have a past life reading that you've already had a regression for read for, or if you would like to have a dream read for, I would encourage you to be able to put those messages in the notes when you send the donation. Or if you are a subscriber on the Clock app, I would encourage you to head over to our subscriber only Discord channel. We've got a special section where you can post those past life memories and also the dream interpretations so that we can utilize the tarot to understand the life paths connected to them. But that said, we are going to get started today. I am going to give you guys a brief recap on what we've been seeing in the cards over the last few days. If you would like to see any of those full readings, you can find them over on the place where we keep the videos. You can also find them over on the place where we keep the photos. You can also find them over as a podcast over on Spot at Tarot Church and over on my Substack. But first and foremost, most importantly, how are you guys doing? How are you feeling? Scale of 1 to 10. We are slowly moving away from the eclipse energy, and I'm going to keep saying this. I feel like we always have all of this excitement. We have all of this buildup going into the eclipses. I feel like the place we have to put the love is really coming out of them. You know, we need like an eclipse recovery program because it sometimes feels like ennui. It feels like a bit of an energetic come down. You know, if you guys follow me a lot, you know that when we talk about the full moons, I often talk about the full moon hangover. Well, the eclipses have like their own kind of hangover energy to a certain extent. And, you know, and one of the things that we've been talking a lot about here is the fact that one of the reasons everyone describes eclipse as chaotic, and I always feel like chaotic is the wrong term for it. It's not that eclipses are by their very nature chaotic. They're unpredictable. That's a different thing. There isn't necessarily a quality or characteristic that you can put on eclipses because they amplify. It's like someone takes the volume knob and just cranks it to 11. And the thing about this eclipse, and the reason that coming out of this eclipse might actually feel worse than being within it. I mean, if it felt worse at all, but I'm going to explain to you why it might have felt a little bit difficult right now, is when we entered this eclipse, we were going through a pretty heavy retrograde, that Venus retrograde. It's no joke. And then at the same exact time that we had that lunar eclipse occur, boom, Mercury goes into retrograde, right? So everything doesn't look good. And now everything feels like it's falling apart. And then we've got Neptune, the transit. Everything looks way better in the past. Nostalgia is being formed. So I'm going to say this again. If you manage to make it through this eclipse cycle, just keeping an even keel, bang up job. I am proud of you. Good job. And that's also why the messages that we were having during the eclipse cycle, stay firm, coming out of them, behave, okay? I mean, I mean behave. And when I mean behave, I mean move in accordance with your intention, right? Because here's the thing about it. The 1-2 punch of the eclipse, all that energy that that we were experiencing during the eclipse, it's still happening. Okay. I think, what is it? I think the Mercury retrograde stops on like the 7th, I think it is. I think the the Venus one stops on the 14th. I'm probably getting those dates wrong, but you know what you catch my drift. Okay? The important thing to recognize is the work doesn't change just because the eclipse is going bye-bye right now. In fact, it might be even easier to let that get to you, because at least I'm going to tell you right now, I know that while some of you going through the eclipse, you're like, it's the eclipse, it's the eclipse, it's the eclipse, and then you're like, oh, good, I can like just know, okay, like behave. And when I mean behave, again, move with intention. And I'm going to tell you right now the same message I was saying a few days ago. Don't take things personally right now, okay? We've got a comment. Why am I telling you not to take things personally? Because, and I'm telling you, it's like the double, it's not, okay, and I got to work you through this. It's not that the Venus retrogrades are like they're difficult because they sometimes distort our view on things, right? It's hard to see things the way clearly sometimes when we're going through Venus in retrograde. It distorts our perception on beauty. Mercury retrogrades have that tendency. We fall out of our groove. Things like grind to a screeching halt to help us identify what feels like it works in service to us or what we can innovate upon. So one of the things that we're identifying now is there's that tendency, there's that ability of potentially going through situations and picking up things that weren't there, or taking things, seeing, hearing something and thinking the wrong thing about it, or overly concentrating on how others view you. Okay? And I'm trying to save you guys from a reading. I'm trying to because that's the thing about it. And that's why I'm saying, if you're coming out of this eclipse cycle and you're like, I said what I said, then you're probably doing fine. But if you're in those moments, you're going, oh dear, what have I done? Well, you know where to find me for readings. Okay. But the reason that we're talking about this here is working in that, like, it's working. And I want to describe this, and what was coming through yesterday in the reading was really beautiful because it has to do with grit. Okay. Now, why do we feel grit? Because one of the things that we were talking about is that sometimes during these Venus and retrograde cycles and with the Mercury retrograde, it feels like grit's on the mirror, right? We get angry. Like, we get angry when we feel like there's grit on the mirror, because it's like that moment that we feel like another person doesn't see us clearly, or those moments that we feel like we don't see ourselves clearly. But you, like, the message that was coming through yesterday, it was really beautiful, is remembering that grit is what polishes a reflective surface. That grit, like the way we polish something, is by taking grit and working with it, right? By not being energetically defensive about things, but allowing them to be the place that we put the work. So I want you to think about that a lot as you're navigating the lessons that you're experiencing during this time, right? It's not so much, and we were talking a lot about defensiveness and how effectively, and I'm going to, again, I know everyone in the comments is already going to start making fun of me because I keep articulating on this, but it's having to do a lot with the word dumb, right? And why are we bringing back the word dumb? We're looking at the etymology of it, because I'm not utilizing that term in the way of meaning something that feels like an insult. The original etymology of the word dumb is when we don't want to hear something, right? When we want to dampen sound, like that's a dumb, numb, dampening, like numb sound, right? So when we get defensive, we go like this. We can't hear things. We can't absorb things, right? But when we're in a space that we work through the ability of hearing things that are difficult, or working through things that are difficult, we're able to recognize and understand the determination it takes to be able to be understood or seen clearly, right? And that's why I keep on seeing that there's a lot of that work that's occurring during this time. But that's why I keep on seeing, and I keep on hearing that it's also very much wrapped around a lot of the lessons that we have as Neptune transits, right? And what are the messages that we are receiving as Neptune transits into Aries? A lot of the messages that we were receiving were that one can have a lot of feeling, but not confusing, like that's what depth is, but not confusing depth for energetic progress, right? That those moments that we feel when we feel encouraged, when we feel motivated by our emotions, are those spaces that, again, we feel that sense of being moved or being stirred, right? So it allows for that ability to almost be able to speak upon something that feels like it propels us in the direction of our manifestation goals. But when we feel emotions without activation of progress, that's what we talk about, what starts to feel like dwelling, right? That's what starts to feel like it starts to bring us down. That's the stuff that can start feeling like it's like an anchor instead, right? Instead of something that feels like it motivates us further. So I see that a lot of the work that's occurring right now, and this is happening across all the frequencies, is experiencing those moments, and this has to do with the fact that Saturn is now also kind of moving closer to Aries, having those moments of being able to focus on the things that we dwell upon, because I keep on seeing also that that combination force between Neptune, Mercury, and Venus kind of working together right now, like, is allowing for the space of observing the I keep on hearing the creation of nostalgia, the ability to look at something and realize that the way one holds it has changed, or an ability to hold something in a way that one hasn't been able to before. Because we talked a lot yesterday about the fact that nostalgia in its very essence is often characterized by the ability to look at something and say that it doesn't hurt anymore, right? And this is how we heal. Because often when we feel a lot of trauma around something, we can't look at it. It's too much, right? But it's like we almost have to do a little bit of self protective work to avoid something. But there are those moments when we have reached in our own path of progress that we're able to look at something with a sense of clarity, right? We're able to bring a level or degree of perspective to something. And so the one benefit that I'm seeing that's occurring during this time that we find ourselves in is there's a lot of that active transformation that's occurring right now. And it's not easy, right? It's tender. There's a lot of vulnerability there, right? Because when we start to do something in that way, we start healing bonds of intimacy. We have to be very conscientious, right? Because again, we're handling something that may have hurt before, but we're doing it in a very fragile way. And I'm keep on seeing that for a lot of the energy right now in separation, that ability to unpack something, that ability to navigate something and not feel triggered by it. This is allowing for a context of helping to determine what feels like it has the ability to progress forward, right? New energetic connections. Or it is the ability to recognize what feels like a limitation point. Because again, when we're trying to heal something with someone, and we're trying to be moving forward and another energy's dwelling, it creates an impossibility matrix, right? Because when we dwell, it's like an anchor, right? And when we want to progress forward, it's like direct direction. So again, I see a couple different modalities that are potentially happening right now in separation. For energy that is coming into separation right now, I'm seeing that this might actually be working through lessons of trying to come into healthy separation by being able to articulate upon why something isn't working, right? Finding the language that allows one to, even if coming into separation, to do so in a loving fashion. Because when we come into separation and we don't understand the reasons why, that is how trauma occurs. So I keep on seeing that ability to calibrate for it, to be able to effectively pinpoint and recognize what the energetic hurdle is, it is allowing a bit of a benefit at this time, because it is the clarity that is being received that is allowing an easement that one might not necessarily have ever found as it came to separation. So even there, There may be beneficial, if not painful, conversations that are happening. While for masculine and feminine energy right now, coming into divine union, I keep on seeing that for a lot of the energy right now, there's a lot of trepidation as it relates to these new connections. And this is characteristic because, and this is why I keep on calling these chariot partnerships right now, because in the last cycle, we had warrior partnerships. Those were the partnerships that were occurring during the Mars retrograde cycle. And those were coming together really fast. They were like wonder twin energy, especially when Jupiter went into Gemini. They like found each other and they just hit the ground running. These partnerships, training wheels, right? That's why I keep on calling it chariot energy, because it's training wheels, because a chariot is slow to start, right? It's a lot of back and forth. It's a lot of halting steps. It's a lot of this, but that is not, that clumsiness that we're seeing is not the clumsiness of hesitancy. It is the trepidation of being careful, particularly because we see that a lot of the connections that are coming together right now are healing from circumstances or situations where the reason for the energetic dissolution of a connection was not based upon a lack of love, but understanding and working through the lesson that when we feel a lot for someone, but we haven't done the work of healing through our own fear, then what we try to give to one another doesn't feel like love. It just feels like an articulation of fear. So we see even there that while there is something there that is slowly forming, that's growing as it relates to the connection, the one point of clarity that these are the energies are giving one another as they move into partnership is being able to disassemble what effectively went wrong in the last relationship. And what is happening, I need to stress this, the difference between disassembling and disassociating, right? Because disassociating is saying, I don't want to think about it. I don't want to talk about it. I want to pretend it never happened. Disassembling are those moments that we take something apart in order to understand how to build it back better, in order to understand what one needs to do to allow for those modalities or those moments that allow for us to identify and recognize what it is that we're working on and how we can do it better. And so, in that process of doing so, we see that a lot of the energies in separation are saying to themselves, or again, saying to the counterpart, that you can trust, because in the ability to disassemble, to take apart how they feel, this is the energy that shows the counterpart, even in those moments, you are safe with me. Because when I feel things, I don't just react to those feelings. I do the internal work of introspecting upon them to understand if they are coming from the higher self or the ego, right? Because the higher self always has a reason why. And the ego works more in the space of just doing something because it's energetically protected, right? It's that earmuff energy. It's that word about that we articulated about the inability to explain, right? While for masculine and feminine energy right now that is coming into divine union, I keep on seeing that this energy right now is very much in Scorpio. And the reason I keep on saying that the energy right now is in Scorpio is because there's a lot of transformation that's occurring there, right? Those with Scorpio placements are not afraid of leaning into places that they have to do the work on the self. Like Scorpio arrives knowing that the only way to change is to be ready to get one's own hands dirty in the process of the self. And what's difficult about some of those journeys right now is this is looking back on the past, having nostalgia created. And that nostalgia that's being created doesn't mean that this is energy that's looking back on the past and everything is perfect. This is energy that is looking back upon the past and seeing lessons there that they could not see before. And those are difficult, right? Remember that grit I told you? Like they're seeing the grit of the mirror on the self as it relates to the experience of the past self. But is this the energy that is getting hard on themselves, getting overly frustrated? No, they're understanding and they're recognizing that in the moment that we see something that we couldn't see before, that's also the moment we understand the assignment, right? Like that is the gift of being able to have clarity. Like when we see that, we say, okay, we don't say, oh no, we say, oh yes. because that is a moment that allows us to amplify and articulate upon the changes. So there's a lot of work I see right now for energy coming into divine union, setting intentions, building those pathwork of purpose. It feels a little bit like the resolution energy that we would typically expect all the way over back in January, but we're having it now. Welcome to Aries season. While for masculine and feminine energy right now that is deep within divine union, I see a lot of this energy doing a lot of work. I keep on hearing on fermentation or shell work, which is coming through in Taurus and Gemini cycles, right? And that again is the ability to articulate upon something that has meaning to the self. You'll remember a few weeks ago, we were talking about the fact that there was a lot of soul searching that energy was doing deep within divine union, trying to find the language, trying to find the words. And so I keep on seeing that to a certain extent. A lot of the energy that we're recognizing here is Renaissance energy. The reason I keep on utilizing the term Renaissance is because Renaissance is effectively rebirth energy. And when we have a rebirth, it's like a rebirth of language, being able to articulate upon something that we couldn't before, right? Being able to build interconnectedness and things. So I keep on seeing that a lot of the work that's happening right now for energy deep within divine union is the point of articulating upon situations and circumstances whereupon the difference is something that is intrinsically important versus something that one is being energetically stubborn upon. And again, it's very much similar to what we were first talking about when we began this recap, which is when something is intrinsically important, we are able to articulate upon why it has significance, why it has meaning, right? It's a conversation that perpetuates itself. I like to describe it as a divine conversation, if you will, right? Because that ability of being able to speak upon it, it feels like it's energetically endless. We could continue to articulate upon the profound meaning of something that is effectively energetically ineffable. Now, the difference point between something that we find is intrinsically important versus something that we are being energetically stubborn upon is when we're being stubborn upon something, we say, and someone asks us why we're holding on to something so much. We say, because I want it that way. because 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 I like it that way, right? Like that is often an indicator that this is something that's coming more from the ego. Because the ego, as we've talked about, never has an explanation. It's like the protective system of the self, right? It's afraid of things, okay, but it's not really good at explaining why. So that ability of introspecting upon those moments that were rigid, it's a gift, right? We don't shy away from that conversation because in the exploration of navigating our discomfort, we come to understand ourselves better, right? When we don't lean away from those conversations, they allow us either to recognize a blind spot in the self, something that we're energetically avoiding because it's hard for us to face, or we're able to land upon the language as to why something is energetically important for us. So that's why I see that there's a little bit more of that pathwork of determination that exists in that energy right now, because all of, like, I think it's very beautiful in the fact that we see that for the energy in separation, like what we were basically seeing over the last few days is there's a lot of energy right now that's working in separation on transmutation, trying to go through the process of moving something that hurts into something that feels like it is helpful. There's a lot of energy right now coming into divine union that's working through lessons of transformation, identifying the work so that they can build the resolutions of the self to do something better going forward. While for a lot of the energy right now in deep within divine union, this is effectively more working through conversations of protectiveness or fermentation, things that feel like they are important because we protect things that are important to us, right? But we identify the fact that they're energetically sacred in so much as we're able to articulate upon the reasons why they have intrinsic value. So we see even now that even like a lot of that work is it's very beautiful as we see it, but it's all different, right? There's a lot of that identification point that we're seeing there that has to do with synchronous lessons, right? that we don't necessarily have to be going through the same lesson at the same time. But when the lessons are synchronized, they work in harmony with one another. And that's why I'm going to keep on saying again, continue to do that work right now. If you're working through anything that's frustrating, make sure that you're leading with compassion. Like, continue to let that be a part of your own work of the self, and allow for those moments of taking time to contemplate and appreciate how far you've come. That is our daily collective. That is a recap on what we've been seeing in the cards over the last few days. Now, if you would like to catch that full reading, you can find it over on the place where we keep the videos. You can also find it over on the place where we keep the photos. You can also find it over as a podcast at my spot at Tarot Church, or over on my Substack. That said, we are going to get started on today's daily collective read in the next few minutes. But if you would like to get on the list for today for a personal reading, the list, as always, is open. As always, it is 3 cards for a donation of 28 or more, 4 cards for a donation of 22 or more for my subscribers. Please keep in mind, there are 2 things I do not read for across these apps. Those are pregnancy and medical. Happy to give insight on anything in a private reading, and you can book a private reading on my site. We are also doing 2 giveaways today. The first giveaway we will be doing is I will be gifting a reading back to the collective when we get to 50K likes. So make sure you're tapping that screen, and we'll get to 50K in no time. The other giveaway we are doing is we will be doing a giveaway when we for the highest gifter between now and the conclusion of the daily collective read. So I wish you a lot of luck in winning that as well. But as I mentioned, let me know how you're doing right now in this energy. I know it's a little bit, if you're feeling like a little bit of a drag right now, you know, it's we're coming out of the eclipse. It's to be expected to a certain extent. Thank you for those gifts, Daisy and Bridget. Hope you guys are having an absolutely beautiful start to the day. I will also again reaffirm that the list today is going to be rather short. So if you'd like to get on it, please do so sooner rather than later. Hi there, Dana. Thank you for the likes. Welcome, Brooke. Hi there, Mystic. How are you doing? Thank you, Bridget. Oh, I love that flower. I miss our fish. Christina, your subscription's ending soon if you'd like to renew. Amanda, thank you for the follow, dear. Hi there, Adam. Oh, that's really sweet of you to say. I hope you're having a beautiful day. Spot, I love it. I love your shirt. So cute. Thank you, Maria. And thank you for sharing the live, Maria. Always appreciate when you guys share the live. Hi there, Dana and Little Vamp. Hope you guys are having a beautiful start to your day. Thank you for those roses. And thank you for sharing the live, Mother. As well, welcome W2. Welcome what WTF is going on for the follow. And thank you, Daisy, for the follow. Thank you, Jamie, for the follow. Hi there. How are you doing today? Hold on, I lost my spot. Thank you again. Oop, come on. Sorry, Mercury's in the Gatorade. Give it a minute. Mercury. Come on. Oh, hold on a minute, guys. The feed from there we go. Lioness, thank you for those gifts. And thank you again. Welcome. Hi there, Chloe. How are you doing? Thank you for the compliment on my shirt. Thank you for the compliment on my rings, Michaela. Thank you as well for the compliment, Unique. Frida, good morning, Gray. Hope you slept well. I never sleep well. I mean, I slept okay. I do not. I sleep and me have a very fickle relationship, but that's just the way it goes. Dewan, good morning. Hope you're having a great day. Hopped in for a reading, paid. Oh, thank you for letting me know, Vamp. I'll add you to the list, and you'll be the first person read for today, so you'll have an additional card in your reading. Bridget, how are you doing, dear? Thank you, Leah, for the follow. Bridget, I am watching a 4-month-old puppy this week, and he's definitely testing my patience. You've been having a week, man. You've been having a week. I'm sending you so much support, my dear. Annie, I feel torn between convincing sides. Pay attention to priorities right now, Annie. You know, honor your feelings. Make sure you're communicating from them. Thank you for that beautiful gift, dear. But I'm also happy to read for you if you'd like to get more clarity on working through decisions right now. All right. And I miss her too. I know, they need to bring our fish back. That's some nonsense. Can we petition the clock app to bring our fish back? I love her. And Sapphire, thank you for the follow. Massive migraines and exhaustion today. I want you also hydrating. Denise, thank you for getting on the list here. You'll be the second person read for today. Guys, the list is going to be very short today, so if you'd like to get on it, please do so sooner rather than later. Pixie, your words were eye-opening. Thank you. You're so welcome, dear. I'm so glad that these messages are helping you on your journey. Bridget, I hover on the edge of consciousness and never asleep. That sounds like Aries energy. Yeah, I mean, like, I sleep is whack right now, and I'm going to be completely honest. I feel like there's some astrology has something to do with it. It's just it's this borderland between Pisces and Aries that a lot of the planets are chilling in right now. And the thing is, I keep on telling you guys, Aries are hard to stay down, Pisces are hard to get up. So it's like if you're sleeping lightly, but then like it's impossible to wake up right now, like welcome to the vibe. It's immaculate. Like, Lioness, thank you for the follow, dear. And thank you, Manda, for sharing the live. Bridget, any dog people in here? How do you get them to stop biting? I've tried all the things. I don't think I don't think there's any way to get a puppy to stop biting. I think it's just getting them to bite the right things. I mean, that's just my education on puppies because their teeth are coming in, right? It's almost like when babies are like gumming, right? I think it's just giving them something to work their mouth upon that isn't you. That's probably going to be the best thing you can do. But if anybody else, again, that is just my 2 cents, and this is why I am a cat person. We better I got to create a pet section in the Discord for these questions. I know you do taste better than all the options because you're salty. You know? Manda, hold on a moment. Yes, I taste better than all the options is my favorite comment today. Honestly, dogs feed off our energy. I try not to get too stressed. That's a good point too, Manda. I slept awful last night, panic attacks all night, and it's your birthday. Oh, bon compleanno, little vamp. Listen, lots of naps right now, lots of hydrating. I know, listen, this energy right now, try to move the anxiety into excitement. Again, and try to get a few naps in. Star, thank you for sharing the live. Manda, if they don't behave, I just remove them and try again. There you go. That's a good one too. It's a bone and it's got stuff all over it. Yeah, exactly. Yes, he's a pup. Hold on a moment. Yes, he's a pup and he's bigger than me. Oh, this is a big pup. Amanda, all week I felt drained, depressed. Yeah, here's the thing, and I keep on saying this, it's coming out of eclipse season. It's the ennui, it's the exhaustion, it's and this one it's even harder because it's like, and this is why I was saying like compassion for the self right now, just doing things that help you feel like keep even keel, like that in itself, you're doing that, it's its own victory, you know. Hang in there, kiddo. I'm rooting for you. Thank you guys for supporting each other in the live. Most grow out of it. I hope so. Yep. Happy. Oh, thank you guys for supporting each other in the live as well. Denise, a sharp, high-pitched yip will let the pup know that it hurts you. That's brilliant, Denise. Absolutely brilliant, brilliant. And Daisy, thank you for confirming you got on the list. Can you just confirm where you sent the payment? And I'll confirm I received it, dear. If anyone else wants to get on the list right now, you'll be the fourth person read for. All right. As I mentioned, friends, we are going to get started on today's daily collective read in the next few minutes. But if you would like to get on the list for today, the list is open. Also, if you're joining us across the other apps, welcome. You can also get on the list via my tree that I linked in my bio. A couple of updates before we get started on today's daily collective read. First and foremost, well, thank you to everyone who attended our recent class on the Justice card. Our next class will be held on Wednesday, April 16th at 6 p.m. PST, 6 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. Eastern. We will be continuing our studies into the tarot with a focus on the Hangman. I cannot wait to teach this class. If you would like to become a part of our tarot class program, you can do so. And now is a great time to do so because It's not necessary to catch up for every class. I do my best in trying to bring you up to speed on what we've studied, but if you become a founding member to my, if you become with your subscription to the Substack Tarot class program, you as a monthly subscriber, you have access to over 9 hours worth of material in the Tarot Church Library Archive. And as a founding member, you will have access to the entirety of it, which is over 12 hours worth of material in an ever expanding library. So if you were to join now, you'd have a nice little window of time prior to our next class to start to catch up, right? If you wanted to. Not necessary, but nice if you'd like to. You'll also, as a monthly subscriber, have access, as I mentioned, to over 9 hours worth of those classes. You will also have access to a one-on-one chat with me and the other students to ask any questions that you may have in anything that we are currently studying or have previously studied thus far. And as I mentioned, as a founding member, not only will you have access to the entirety of the Tarot Church Library Archive, but you will also have a discounted rate on purchasing the entire year of classes. You will also have access to a complimentary one-on-one class with me, wherein I will meet with you personally and assess where you are on your personal tarot journey and give you the best information as to how to utilize those classes and your own personal practice to the best of your advantage moving towards your personal tarot goals. One of the things I've tried to do in these classes was make them accessible to the absolute novice tarot reader as well as the seasoned reader. There's definitely something there for everyone. Don't let your lack of experience or your robust experience prevent you from joining our class program. And even if you don't become a paid subscriber to my Substack, I would encourage you to follow me there to stay up to date on any new offerings or services. I post my weekly newsletter there, which will let you know about my in-person events as well as my online live schedule or any collaboration I have coming up with any other creators. You will also get to be first notified as to any new offerings that I offer. And speaking about offerings, on top of my standard life path readings, I also offer mentorship classes. Now, my mentorship classes are for any of my students that are seeking a more personalized educational experience with me. I take a very limited number of students for this reason, as those classes are unique and customized for each individual's spiritual journey and path work. Those classes can be purchased on an individual level or as a monthly class series, weekly or biweekly as your schedule permits. Also, for my clients that are seeking more consistent weekly tarot support, I'm very happy to offer weekly tarot insight packages. That is a package of 4 30-minute readings, again, weekly or biweekly as your schedule permits, so that you can stay more consistent on your personal journey. I'm also very happy to now offer dream interpretation class readings. Those can be purchased per dream or as a series. Now, if you purchase the dream package, I would encourage you to start to keep a dream journal, as we will meet weekly or bi-weekly with that journal and utilize the tarot to help understand the key themes and messages coming towards you in the dream space. That said, we are going to get started on today's daily collective read in the next few minutes. If you would like to get on the list today, the list is open. You will be the 4th person read for. The list is also going to be very short today. So if you'd like to get on the list, I would encourage you to do so sooner rather than later. 3 cards for a donation of 28 or more. 4 cards for a donation of 22 or more for my subscribers. Links in my bio. Please keep in mind there are 2 things I do not read across these apps. Those are pregnancy and medical. Happy to give insight on anything in private readings, and you can book private readings on my site. I do here for personal readings, we do angelic guidance, life path readings, highest priority messages from spirit. We also do mediumship readings, dream interpretations. And if you are going to send in for a life path and we also do pet readings. If I missed anything, let me know. Also do love readings. If you are going to have a life path reading, if you're going to have a past life reading or a dream interpretation, I would encourage you to make sure that you can actually send the information that you would like to give me for the reading. Hold on a minute. Thank you. You can also send that over. You don't have to put it in the notes in the clock app. If it's easier, you can just send it directly in the notes when you send the donation, or you can post it if you're a subscriber over on our Discord channel. I'm going to take a minute to read over some of the comments that came through as I was giving those recaps. And also, please remember, we've got 2 contests that we're doing today. The first one we will be doing is lifting a reading back to the collective when we get to 50K likes. My friends, we're already at 11K. Thank you for tapping that screen. Please tap that screen, because the more you tap, the more that this app pushes this message out to the collective. Also, we'll be doing a giveaway when we get whoever gives the highest gift between now and the conclusion of the daily collective read. Lioness, you are number 1 right now. So thank you so much for those gifts. I'm going to take a minute to read over some of the comments that came through as it was reading. And Daisy, I've got you, dear. Thank you so much for confirming. I'm also going to take a minute to write down that where we are with the highest gifts right now to be able to. I'm working on new systems to monitor to make sure I'm getting the correct highest gift winner. All right, there we go. Excellent. Where were we? Yes, this is why I have a cat. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing though. My cat bites too. My cat was taken from their mother too early. Strega's a nibbler, which is always frustrating. All right. Yes, exactly. Hold on a minute, Joel. How do I know any of this is real and not just me finally losing it? Well, I mean, Joel, first thing I want you to recognize is I don't want you to feel like I don't want you moving towards anything that is making you feel like you're losing it. Like a good spiritual journey is one that should feel like it's supporting to you. It's not, it shouldn't make it, I don't want you feeling like you're, but I know what you mean, right? I like to point out, and that's one of the, like one of the things I like to identify is, and I'm assuming you're reading about guide work. Good guide work is going to be evidence backed. It's going to help you feel. It's going to feel something that you can support in the terrestrial plane. So build into that context, build into that space of feeling energetically anchored. What is supportive to you is what is supportive to you, right? And often, sometimes we have those moments that feels like it defies definition. But I hope that these messages help on that journey as well. And I like to feel that some of my work that I do in my mentorship classes is helping with that feeling as well. And thank you guys for supporting each other in the live. Always appreciate when you guys support each other in the lives. Yes, most grow out of it. I know. I mean, that's the goal, right? It's just making sure that they don't do it too much. Denise, yep, and I think that's a great idea about the yip. I thought that was amazing. And yep, I've got you, Daisy. Absolutely. Yes. I am also a cat person. They pretty much take care of themselves. I know. I mean, I've always had very independent cats, but I got to say, actually, from like the nippiness, my cat Strega, she's a nipper. I wish it wasn't the case, but she was just taken from her mother too early. Dogs are worse than toddlers. I love them, but they're a lot of work. They are a lot of work. Yes, I love them, but I love them. I love that they're not mine more. Exactly. They're fun to visit, and then you can go away. And someone. Same thing goes for toddlers. But here's the thing I like to point out, like, a toddler learns to speak. You know what I mean? A toddler, like, you just got to let time do a little bit of work there too. Yes, it's a way to speak to the teething baby. No, I think that I mean, it's brilliant, Denise. It makes a lot of sense. As I mentioned, friends, we are going to get started on today's Daily Collective in just a moment or two. If you guys could do me a favor and share this live, I would appreciate it. Make sure anyone who catches this live, anyone who would like to catch this live is here to receive it. That said, no better time than the present. Oh, and let me just put the giveaways here before we get started. If anyone else would like to get on the list for today, you'll be the 4th person read for. Please remember that the list is going to be very short today. And then also, please remember, we've got 2 different contests that are occurring today. First one is we are doing a reading giveaway when we get to 50K. So we will continue to tap that screen. We'll get to 50K in no time. And the other giveaway we are doing right now is a reading giveaway, a free reading to the highest gifter. Lioness is currently at the highest space for that. I wish you guys a lot of luck in winning that as well. That said, no better time than the present. Hold on a minute. Whoop, there we go. And thank you guys for sharing the live. Always appreciate it. That said, no better time than the present. Why don't we get started? Welcome, everyone. Happy Saturday. I'm the Grace Strega, and I'm here to give you your daily collective read for today, Saturday, April 5th, 2025. What do we have coming through in the cards for today? Can I please have the first two cards in our 5-card spread? First two cards we are starting our day off with today. Ooh, I am not surprised to see this. So, one of the things I love is when we have continuation of tarot spreads. So one of the things I want you to, the two cards that we're starting our day off with today are the Judgment card in its upright and the Three of Swords in its reversal. Now this is intriguing because if you recall, if you head over to our Substack, if you're listening to the podcast, you'll find the image of yesterday's spread there. This is the same card that we ended yesterday's reading on. And more importantly, it's also in the same upright position. So this is a continuation of the spread that we had yesterday. It's just picking up where it left off. Now, it's also very interesting because yesterday, top of the spread, we had the Three of Swords and its upright. Now it's in the Three of Swords and its reversal. Remember when I was talking about in relationality to a lot of this feeling that we're having right now? I'm going to work you guys through this again. So, you know, what's interesting is a big demarcation point that we were seeing in yesterday's reading was like working through the consistency of a lesson, even though the eclipse has come down, right? I keep on calling this energy right now, like the energetically, it's like a decompress, right? It's like a de-escalation moment. And that's why this might actually be, and I know it's going to sound a little odd, I feel like this might be actually be the hardest part of the eclipse cycle. And I know you're going to say to me, you're going to say like, Sin, the eclipse is over. I know it's over, but you have to remember that, and this is what we talk about, you have to think about it to a certain extent. Like there aren't planetary on and off switches. Okay. It's not like boom, boom. Things, they grow and they come back down. So when we talk about like kind of the pre-shadow period, I would feel like pre-shadow is like a strange way to describe it. It's like an ascension point, right? Like the amplification of coming into like the eclipse cycle, right? It's like the volume knob that gets raised. And now we're going through, and you know, that's why I always feel like shadow is the wrong word for it. It's like the decompression point, the de-escalation, if you will, of the volume knob going back down from the eclipse cycle. Now, the reason that this come down energy feels even worse is, and this is what I keep on reminding you guys about, eclipses don't have characteristics. They're often called chaotic, but I feel like the best word to describe it is more unpredictable. And the reason that we identify the fact that eclipses are unpredictable is because when you think about a volume knob, you can't say to someone, well, what's the characteristics of volume? It's louder. It's louder. So when we're going through those moments where we feel like that loudness, when it feels like things get amplified, they're not predicated. Everyone's different. It has more to do with what's occurring in those moments. And I keep on describing the fact that this eclipse came during I want to say like a time that we were going through a pretty a bit of a rough patch as it relates to the combination force of the Mercury retrograde with the Venus retrograde. You know, like a lot of that work that we identify, and I keep on describing this, Venus retrograde cycles, they have those moments or those experiences where they feel like they distort perception, right? It's hard to see things clearly. That's why, again, I keep on saying it's not like Like and like those in the beauty system, like those who work in beauty can attest. It's not like the Venus retrograde shows up and everyone forgets how to use scissors. It's the fact that our perception of things distorts. So it's harder for us to see beauty in things. And at the same time, we've got that Mercury retrograde cycle, which makes everything start feeling a lot clumsier. Now, again, Mercury retrograde cycles helping us understand the difference between a groove and a rut, right? When we're working through that context of working through a groove and a rut, sometimes we have to be moved out of our comfort zone. So we're coming out of this eclipse cycle, but that energy is still there, right? So we have to add to it a little bit of that ennui, right? A little bit of that, like that feeling of decompress. And so it can feel exhaustive. It can feel a little bit like working through like the blahs, if you will, right? But that's why I'm saying, even now, I want you to think about this energy as kind of like working through the energy of solace, right? Because when we're working through the energy of solace, um, it can be it can be fortifying. It can feel cathartic. It can feel healing, but it also requires a lot of that work in finding that sense of peace within the self. Because I keep on hearing like a lot of this work that we're doing during this time is working in the context of making peace with things, right? But when we're making peace with things, it's not peaceful. Like, it's not easy. It's not pleasant. It's having to find, like I keep on hearing, the grit it takes to make peace, right? Right. And that's why I keep on telling you guys, I don't want you taking anything personal right now. I don't want you working in that context of being very energetically defensive, because everything we keep on seeing here is there's like, again, there's almost like that work in terms of finding that consistent point, and that ability of doing so. It's not easy, but I keep on hearing it's worth it, because there's a lot of opportunity for the expansion point on the other side of this cycle, so long as we're recognizing and we're letting this be a time that we're acting towards being productive with what we are energetically receiving. Now, this is having a different impact depending on where we find ourselves on the frequency cycles. Now, for a lot of the energy and separation, I see that there's something that is healing in relationality to working in the space of catharsis. Now, why do we see that the word catharsis is coming through right now for energy and separation? Because I keep on getting something that's very important here, and we've been talking about this. Trauma occurs when we move away from a situation and we don't have clarity as to what's happening. It's often those moments of confusion that trauma occurs. And I keep on seeing that there's something that is very beautiful that's happening for some energy and separation as it relates to healing from the context of thinking that one has to get over something in order to move forward from it, right? Because that's the thing about it. And I keep on hearing that the thing that's so wacky is when someone says that they're trying to get over trauma, it is an oxymoron, right? Trauma is the pain that we cannot stop feeling, right? If we could, if we could, we would, right? If we could, we would. So, one of the things that we're recognizing and identifying have to be in those spaces or places of understanding how we heal from something. And a lot of that work that we recognize and identify in relationality to how we heal from something is identifying how we carry it. And so I keep on seeing, and that's why I keep on hearing that these are chariot lessons. Why are they chariot lessons? Because I see a lot of energy being able to move forward by reconsidering how they carry something, right? And when we redistribute how we carry something, we suddenly find an ability to move forward from it. And everything I keep on seeing has to do with the redistribution of energetic work. right? If these are situations or circumstances from the past that are coming into a space of resolution, then even here, these are modalities where there's energy that is talking about the work to be done and what that energetic effort takes. If these are new connections that are occurring during the space, this is the energy that is showing each other via the determination that they're bringing to something that isn't easy, that they have what it takes because they understand that perfection is not found, it is made. And for any energy that is coming into closure, I see even here, there's something very cathartic that may be occurring in some of these separations because this, I keep on hearing the energy coming into separation and saying, make no mistake, almost re amplifying to one another the reasons why there is a point of separation. Because when we are able to clearly communicate as to why we are energetically separating, it doesn't create trauma in the process, right? It hurts, but it's not traumatizing because it is understood. So I keep on seeing that, like, something about the frustration here in any context feels like it's a relief because I keep on hearing like frustrated, not traumatized, like disappointed, not devastated, right? The energy, like when we say these words, it is the energy of experiencing something with our eyes closed versus with our eyes open. So I keep on seeing that this is why this is being communicated here for energy and separation, because they're going through something, but they're doing so with clear eyes. Now, for masculine and feminine energy that is coming into divine union, a lot of the work that we're seeing coming into divine union right now has to do with understanding the assignment. And that's why the energy is looking back on the past. Because when we look back upon the past and we see something there that we couldn't see before, that's the moment we realize that we understand the assignment, right? They're not holding that space in regret. They're not holding that space in devastation. They're looking upon something for the directions as to what the work needs to be, right? There's a level or degree of practicality that is arising here. That again, it's like working through grit. It's working through the grit and determination that it takes to be able to see the self that allows for the context of change as one is going forward, right? While for masculine and feminine, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to deep within divine union, this is a lot of this energy. I keep on seeing this is the energy that's I keep on seeing protective, not defensive. Why is the energy saying protective, not defensive? Because we've been talking a lot about, when I'm reading into this energy, there's a lot of conversations upon the difference between stubbornness and and fervency, right? I keep on hearing the word like firmament whenever I read up into that energy. And the reason I keep on hearing that is because the difference between stubbornness and firmament, something that is important, is the ability to communicate as to the reasons why. And that's the energy that says, I want to talk about it. And if someone's like, I don't want to talk about it, be like, well, why don't you want to talk about it? Being like, I don't like it. Being like, you're being energetically stubborn, right? Like you're being like that is literally the definition of stubbornness, because often when we hold on to something, right, that we're being stubborn about, and we don't want to talk about why, this is the energy that was going through those lessons that we were going through, all that warrior cycle stuff that said, like, what did warrior energy teach us? Warriors work on learning how not to be stubborn, because when we're stubborn, like, we work through surrender, understanding. Surrender doesn't mean giving up. It means letting go of what we insist upon when we see that the reason that we insist upon it is because it feels good to do so, right? Something that feels good to do so often doesn't serve the self, right? It doesn't if it bars explanation, it's usually coming from the ego, not the higher self. So we keep on seeing that there's something really beautiful in that. I mean, like, I see that there's a lot of trying to work through frustrating conversations in productive ways is the best way I can describe it. Or recognizing and identifying, like, what the energetic hurdle is, right? Like chariot lessons. Third card in our five card spread for today is, we have here our Seven of Pentacles in its reversal. We've been seeing this card a lot. This is the same card we saw in yesterday's reading in the same exact position. Frustrating, working through frustration is literally the definition of grit. I'm going to say it again. Working through frustration is literally the definition of grit. That's what grit is. And that's why, you know, why we don't shy away from being energetically frustrated, right? Because when we are frustrated and we move away from something, that's when we become fickle, right? Well, I don't like it. I don't like it here. I don't like it. Like, you know what I mean? Like we go through those moments. We go through those moments, and it's like it has to be with navigating through the discomforture point. And yeah, things are frustrating. Things frustrate us all the time. Go talk to an Aries. They're never not frustrated. Like, that's why we're getting all this energy right now, right? This can be a little bit harder for those with Taurus placements, right? Because working through those moments of being energetically frustrated, right? Like like that is often those moments that we feel like we have to rein in our egos, right? Because and I need to point this out, and I keep on getting that the ability to embrace frustration helps us again working through what feels like it helps us see what is for us versus what isn't, right? Because and I keep on hearing it has to do with navigating things that we don't like, right? And I need to point this out. When we are navigating frustration points, right? Often it's because what do we see? We go, there has to be an easier way. Like what does frustration say? Right? Okay, these are all Mercury lessons that are coming through right now. What does frustration say? There has to be an easier way, right? That is what healthy frustration says. And so what happens when we're navigating frustration? We innovate. Like this is a Mercury lesson. We innovate upon it, right? We go, this there has to be an easier way, right? And so often like we come into a space of recognizing and identifying either what the source of an energetic hurdle is so that we're able to come into a place where it gets easier, or we do something, we innovate, like we find a solution to something. But solutions are only found in the space of navigating through our energetic frustration, right? It's navigating through the identification point of what's not working in order to find something that feels like it is smoother, right? And like again, you have to again, we keep on getting a lot of those messages about like what it takes to polish a surface, right? You have to kind of work through that space that often when things feel like they're seamless, right? It's because like and when we talk about this, like when we do something that feels like it's seamless, it's a gift that we get that we come into because others don't recognize and identify the work that it takes to become energetically seamless, right? It's often those moments I keep on hearing that these are conversations upon grace, because grace, the definition of grace is something that feels like it's effortless, but then you understand and recognize how hard it is. And it is the fact that we navigate a point of grace, that we create grace within ourselves, because by doing so we find those moments or we find those opportunities where it's intentional, right? It is the fluidity that becomes intentional because we put our effort or we put our intentionality towards it. So I keep on seeing that like a lot of this energy right now, it's like it's frustrating, but it's not about being energetically frustrated. It's about how you move through the energetic frustration point. It's about how you recognize and identify what feels like it brings you into that point. And that's why I keep on seeing that, like, that's why I'm saying that something about this period coming out of the eclipse cycle almost feels more frustrating than being in the eclipse cycle proper, because at least when you're in the eclipse cycle, there's like there's that amplification where it just feels like a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? It feels like a lot of energetic excitement, right? And so this feels even more frustrating because it's like it's working through the come down of the eclipse, as it were. Now, this is having a different impact depending on where we find ourselves in the frequency cycles. For masculine and feminine, I just keep on seeing that this is, I'm going to get two more cards before I clarify how this is impacting the frequencies. Yeah, again, and this is beautiful because I want to show you these cards. So if you're listening on the podcast, the two cards we just pulled are the Eight of Pentacles in its reversal in combination with the World card. Now, one thing I want you to bear in mind is I like to see these two cards together, right? I like to see these three cards together, to be perfectly fair, because what we have here, when we've got the Two of Pentacles in its reversal, I mean the Seven of Pentacles in its reversal, and the Eight of Pentacles in its reversal with the World card, this is exactly the conversation that we're having. When we get frustrated, but we don't give up on our frustration, right? When we put determination towards our frustration, what do we find? Solutions, right? We find solutions. There's that World card. Now, this is why I'm telling you guys right now that for a lot of the energy in separation, this is why these partnerships that are coming together right now are Chariot energy. This is not energy that waits for ideal opportunities for things to occur. This is not energy that waits for something to be perfect. This is the energy that says we build with what we got. We build with what we got. It's never ideal to do something. Ideal is what you make, not what you find, right? The ideal circumstance is any time you find the ability to understand what the assignment is, right? It's like at your leisure, but anytime you're ready. This is how the universe is. It's like, and like again, this is why I'm seeing that working through frustration, but trying to find energetic solutions for frustration. What's beautiful about this for energy, I keep on seeing that this is the hallmark right now that is helping energy understand the difference between circumstances from the past that weren't moving forward versus the energy that is moving forward today, which is, again, it's not about being frustrated, right? This is why we don't walk away when we're frustrated, but we work through something, because that ability of doing so is the energy that understands and finds within their self the ability to overcome their own frustration to work towards solutions. And that's why I keep on hearing that this is the energy that is also working in that context of healing their relationship. And I keep on getting this to a certain extent. There's something very difficult for some of the energy in separation right now in relationality to healing from circumstances in the past where another person was, bringing I keep on seeing that there's something about this here that is allowing for some kind of level or degree of productivity, because this is the energy that is equally working. And I keep on seeing this right now, working very critically on creating energetic balance, right? They're not looking so much as to what another can do. They're looking for what they can do. And then they're looking towards counterpart that's doing that as well. And you see this, like I keep on hearing, it's like a no blame zone. You know what I mean? Like, this is beautiful. Like, I see a lot of energy right now in separation saying blame is pointless, because when we blame things, we're trying to like move the work off of ourselves, right? And so I keep on seeing that this is the energy that is coming towards each other in partnership via being able to identify what they're changing in order to make something more seamless. So this is saying to me, there's a lot of breakthrough energy that's happening right now as it relates to energy and separation, being able to recognize, and I keep on hearing like breaks or breakthrough, being able to recognize what the hurdle is that's causing the problem that feels like it's a closure point, or having a breakthrough in working with energy that is constructive as it relates to how to solve a problem. While for masculine and feminine right now coming into divine union, clarification between our judgment card and our Three of Swords in its reversal. One card to clarify, please. I love it. We've got our Queen of Cups here, right? I can talk to you about anything. And that's the beauty about it. I just keep on seeing there's an openness here that's happening in the language of the energy coming into divine union. And I keep on seeing like I keep on hearing something that's happening right now for energy coming into divine union in terms of them saying to one another, like before you, my flaws become facets. Before you, my like before you, my scars become sacred. Before you, and that's why I keep on seeing here that there's something about that, because there's something beautiful that's happening for the energy coming into divine union, that we talked a lot about this. This is like all of these lessons that we're working through right now in this retrograde are moving away from the idea of perfection and moving closer to the aspiration of being energetically exquisite. And why do we see that happening? Because when we talked a lot about this yesterday, when we're trying to move towards perfection, like when we're trying to move towards the higher self, we understand that that is a continual journey, right? It's always above us, right? It's always slightly out of grasp. And that work of doing so, we work to move more in alignment with that aspiration of self. But we also don't bludgeon ourselves with it. We also don't blame ourselves if we feel like we're never reaching our full potential, because we understand that when we hold ourselves to a high standard, we always feel like we're kind of falling short of our potential. Like that's the nature of the circumstance. And so I keep on seeing that this is the energy that is healing from their aspiration or desire to be perfect by understanding the nature of being energetically exquisite. And what is exquisite? Exquisite is something that is unique. It is something that is rare. It does not strive to be like anyone else. It is the ability to find the facets within the self that make us energetically sacred and embrace them, right? And that's a hard thing, right? That's a hard thing when we're working through a lot of these lessons right now, because often during this Mercury Venus mashup of a retrograde, it's often to look at something and be like, I hate that. Oh, I hate that about myself. Oh, you know what I mean? Like it's like that space that you want to blame yourself or you want to be hard on yourself. But when we have that space, and this is why the gift of like the Leo retrograde, the Leo full moon was helping us through this. When we look at something and we get frustrated at ourselves, and then we build an affirmation or resolution within that space, it becomes the ability to give ourselves some grace as we move towards the perfection of the self, because we say, I could do better, right? It's like and we build the resolution within ourselves to change. So I keep on seeing that, like a lot of that work of doing so, it's allowing for a lot of that. It's like it feels, it's like it's like compassion, and give the compassion you give yourself as you're creating new standards for yourself, right? And so I keep on seeing, it's like it's a lot of that, like pardon our appearance type of energy, right? But this is the energy that says to counterpart, if these are those moments that they're being hard on themselves, this is often a good counterpart, helps us calibrate when we're being too hard on ourselves, because that's the energy that says to one another, stay, like, allow for that amplification of like of care. I see the work that you do. I understand. I see what you aspire to be, but hold yourself gently in that embrace as you reach for it. Continuing to get clarification for energy deep within divine union right now between our 3 of Swords in its reversal, in combination with our 7 of Pentacles in its reversal. One card to clarify. Clarification. Here's the thing. Here comes Saturn. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on here. So one of the things that we're identifying right now that we just have to recognize is, like, and I keep on calling this, like, this is just my way of viewing something to a certain extent. So, like, I keep on calling this, like, there's like this little bit of like a pile up here. There's like a little bit of there's something very intriguing that's happening right now that I just want to. I'm sure you've heard me mention this yesterday, and I'm going to bring it back up today, which is, so the energy that is Neptune is typically the energy that lags behind. It's like the back end energy. It's a memory. And it's moving forward into Aries. And then we've got Mercury, that's usually the front end energy, and it's dipping back into Pisces. So there's something a little, and then we've got Saturn that's kind of like hanging out between them along with Venus, and now it's like Saturn's moving closer to them. So it keeps, I've been describing this to a certain extent as a very interesting moment, because that's what I was talking about when I kept on saying, and it was funny because I didn't know why I kept on getting the message last month saying like Renaissance energy, but this is why. Because what happens when we have that is that we're able to look at the past in new ways, right? We're able to reorient. And so I keep on seeing that to a certain extent. A renaissance is a reorientation point, right? Like it almost allows for a confluence of allowing the past to return in ways that we couldn't perceive and view it before, that helps us shape the determination point of the future. So I keep on seeing that there's something very important that's occurring right now in relationality to how we perceive the past, right? And there's almost like a pragmatism there is what I'm seeing. There's something that feels energetically helpful to a certain extent, but it's rough. It's like it's hard, right? There's a lot of that point of determination. Now, one of the things I keep on seeing is, and that's what I kept on telling you guys, that there's something about the past coming back right now, emotionally, spiritually, or tangibly. But again, the gift of something from the past returning is it helps us see how far we've come. And I keep on seeing that for a lot of the energy deep within divine union, working through frustrating circumstances with the fermentation point of the self, feeling the strength of one's own self as you navigate something that would have like really frustrated you before. I keep on seeing that there's something about that that feels very, I keep on hearing protective and not defensive, right? And when something is protective, I have to point this out. When we're protective, we're being courageous, right? When we're protective, we're energetically courageous. We face our fear full tilt. Like we have that moment. These were all the lessons that we navigated with the Mars retrograde cycle. But like when we're being more defensive, it can often speak about the space that we're being sure, but we're not articulating upon what that sureness is, right? So I keep on seeing that there's a lot of that work that's happening right now, particularly in the space of navigating through frustration in new ways. But there's something about that, even for energy deep within divine union, that feels encouraging. It feels strengthening. It feels edifying. Continuing to get clarification between our Seven of Pentacles in its reversal and our Eight of Pentacles in its reversal. Can I get one card to clarify, please? Clarification coming through right now. That's what I'm seeing right now. That's what I'm talking about. I love when the cards are in alignment with what I'm talking about, because here's again, like this Four of Wands, this is talking a lot about some of that Renaissance energy that we were speaking towards, right? There's a lot of nostalgia that's being created right now, right? And the thing about nostalgia that we have to recognize and identify is it's the observation point on the past. And what's beautiful about the observation point on the past, but we always have to calibrate for it, is that the past is beautiful, because when we look at the past, everything is beautiful, but nothing hurt, right? It's a lot of that work that we do to navigate and recognize that even in the context of us looking back at something, our perception of it from the present has changed. And so I keep on seeing that for a lot of the energy right now across the frequencies, that ability to look upon something and to speak towards it, but in a way that feels uplifting. It feels like it holds the promise of the self as one discusses it. This is a lot of the energy that is being, I keep on saying, being frustrated, but productive in their frustration. Because when we are frustrated, the reason we feel frustrated instead of devastated has to do with being able to understand why, right? When we're devastated, we usually have a lack of understanding on something. Like that's why we use the term devastated. But when we're frustrated, we can usually articulate why we're frustrated. We can usually, it's like how much time you got. So I keep on seeing that there's something there's something very productive and beneficial that is occurring right now in relationality to frustrating conversations that are happening right now in separation, because the hallmark of a frustrating separation is the fact that it's going somewhere. Okay. It is the fact. It is the fact that you see that there is energetic progress being made. So I keep on seeing that for a lot of that energy, being able to articulate and amplify as it relates to what one is frustrated about, and then being able to come into a solution. This is how we heal, because this is the energy saying, see how easy it is? Like, you see how easy it is? See how easy it is when there's a problem and then we just work towards the solution? You see how easy it is? Like, it's like bump, a bump, a bump, like, you know what I mean? And that's why I'm going like this, because I feel like there's some energy in separation that's doing the cha-cha and feeling the relief of working with someone that like is able to navigate a problem and then immediately trying to come into the space of finding a solution. Right? Like that's why my hands are going like this. Right? Like, wow. Like it's like that moment of being like, wow, that was so easy. Oh my gosh, wow, that triggered me. Right? It's like I'm getting that kind of thing. Now, because I literally have some moments right now in separation where someone like experiences something and they feel triggered and they go, here we go again, and they prepare, they wait for it, and then suddenly you just move through it and you go, right? And that's why the energy is like, you know what I mean? It's in that moment where you feel like you're about to be triggered, you're like, oh no, and then you're like, oh yes. Continuing to get clarification for energy that's coming into divine union. I keep on hearing processing, right? Yeah, again, yeah, processing. And that's what's beautiful about it. Because here's the thing about it, like I keep on hearing that there's something about the energy coming into divine union that's working through the ability of healthy processing, right? And again, when we process things in healthy ways, we don't resent anything, right? When we're processing, we're not resenting, right? When we're processing, we're not harboring. When we're processing, we're not dwelling, right? And so I keep on seeing that there's something really beautiful about the energy coming into divine union as it relates to being able to go through things that would have, like, I keep on saying that would have felt, going through things that would have felt rigorous or would have felt isolating in the past, but in a way that feels energetically supportive to the self. You know, like that's the beautiful thing about it. Like this is the energy that's that's going through circumstances or situations where they're saying to one another, now you see the real me. And the energy being like, I've always seen that. Nothing has changed. Like anything you're articulating to me, that is also energetically beautiful because it's the identification point of the work that another does. Now, for masculine and feminine deep within divine union, clarification between our Queen of Cups in combination with our Five of Swords in its upright, one card to clarify, clarification coming through right now with our Ace of Cups in its upright. So, you know, I love to see, I absolutely adore. And if you have a moment, go make sure to take a look at the photo of today's spread on Substack. I absolutely adore seeing the Three of Swords reversed with the Ace of Cups beneath it. Because that's the energy that effectively says that when we don't, you know, when we don't dwell on things, right? When we don't harbor energetic resentment, but we come into that space of being able to articulate and communicate why something has meaning to us. I keep on seeing, like, I keep on hearing, it allows for the ability, I keep on hearing, it allows for the ability of energetically clearing the slate, as it were, right? And why do I keep on hearing the space that it clears the slate? Because, you know, it's when we get, and I keep on hearing like that's like it's getting things off of our chest, but getting things off of our chest in a way that feels like it is productive, right? It feels like being able to communicate in a way that allows for like it allows for that space of working on something in a way that doesn't feel like it's energetically reactive. And I keep on seeing that there's something about the energy right now deep within divine union that, and that's the thing about it. When you do that work on the self, it can be very frustrating if you're working in the context of someone that hasn't done that work, right? Because it's like you can't, you can't, like you can't help someone else through that. You know what I mean? And it can be like sometimes we have those moments. I keep on hearing there's a lot of energy deep within divine union working through the frustration point in not being able to heal something when another energy is in a space that they're not ready to do so. But that's why I see that energy, like they don't force things, right? They don't force things in that context. They just recognize and identify like what the source is. And so I keep on seeing like I keep on hearing a lot of the energy deep within divine union saying understanding the nature of a problem doesn't fix an energetic problem. I mean, it's a relief to the self, but it can still feel frustrating because you would prefer it be a different way. But that's why I keep on seeing that for a lot of that energy, it's like, it's working. It's like I keep on hearing whenever another is ready, like that work can begin. Right. I keep on hearing like sometimes like you keep on hearing this is what's happening right now. There's energy within divine union that's like holding energetic lessons, but they're holding energetic lessons. I need to stress this. They're not trying to teach a lesson. They're like basically saying if that person ever, like if that day ever comes and that person's ready to like do that work, I'm ready to show up for it. You know what I mean? Like that's the energy that's like, but you can't force someone to be in that space of being ready to do so. You know what I mean? Like it's a lot of like, like it's a lot of that, should the day ever come, I mean, like it's like continuing, like, yeah, should the day ever come? Yeah, continuing to get, clarification between our 5 of Wands in combination with our 4 of Wands and its upright. Can I get one card to clarify, please? Yeah, it's like, it's like the day, like the day, and that's the thing about it. For energy within divine union, the energy is always frustrated because they're like that day could be today, like it could be today, like they would prefer it be today. You know what I mean? Like because I need to point this out. Like I see a lot of energy that like wants to work in that space, like I feel like it's like I feel like there's a lot of energy right now deep within divine union. It's not that they don't have abandonment wounds on their own, but they're holding room for others' abandonment wounds, if that makes sense. That's the best way I can describe it. It's like it's just holding room for others' abandonment wounds. And why is it coming through like that? Because like when we care about each other, like that's almost what we do, right? Like it's not that we're perfect, but we love each other in our imperfection, right? And again, it's not that we like we understand, and I keep on seeing this, we understand the context by which another is ready to do work, right? We don't force those journeys, right? We love each other in those spaces. But there's also something really interesting there because I can see that like you know, something about the energy deep within divine union is working in the context of when you're trying to be restorational and it feels like you're navigating an abandonment wound that another hasn't processed through. It's like it almost requires you to have to like circumvent it to a certain extent. You know what I mean? Like I literally see like it would be easier, but that's the energy that like goes out of the way, right? Like they go out of the way to try to navigate and circumvent because even in that space, it is articulating and amplifying the level of care that they have for one another. right? So I keep on seeing that that's really beautiful, because even in divine union, like, this is the energy that works through their own abandonment wounds, trying to articulate to another and say, am I doing this in the clearest way possible, right? And help identify what they can do better, or what they have to continue to circumvent. While for masculine and feminine coming into divine union, this is the energy that says, this is more of that space that I see another saying, um, like the like our ability to understand our limitations is what allows us to heal them. And we talked a lot about this. Remember, because, and I want to tell you, like, I want to bring this up again, because this is going to bring us back into the energy and separation. Like, healing is not about becoming perfect. Healing is about understanding the self, right? We become perfected when we know ourselves, because that ability of knowing the self allows us to understand what we are working on, or what we're energetically comfortable with, right? And it has to do, it's interesting because it feels like there's a lot of these conversations that are coming through as it relates to abandonment wounds and comfort zone, right? When we understand our abandonment wounds, we're able to recognize our comfort zone, right? We're able, as my cat is is doing a very retrograde thing, which is trying to eat my mic and knocking it out of its microphone. So just bear with me a moment as I try to fix that, because I just want to make sure that it's not affecting the quality of the sound that we're hearing. So one of the things that we're seeing right now is that for a lot of the energy working through that context, that is the energy that basically says, you know, and that's the energy that I keep on getting, is giving themselves a measure, a degree of grace. Because again, what is great? It is the grit. It is the grit that we put on the mirror of the self. It is the appreciation we give ourselves as we move towards perfection. And again, it's not that that work is easy, but being able to work through a frustration point, being able to work through a frustration point and still be smooth is what we try to work in the context of, as it relates to identifying and recognizing the self, right? It's a journey of the self, but in the space of doing so, not only do we identify what we could do better, but we also identify what we need to change that can allow for a point of innovation. And that's why we keep on seeing that I told you, a lot of this work that we experience right now, especially with Venus in retrograde on top of the Mercury retrograde, is it can often lead to things going wrong in awkward ways at like the least convenient time, right? But that's why I keep on calling it, to a certain extent, improv energy, because when we go through those moments and we don't get frustrated, but we move through them, it allows us to appreciate our own ability of finding that point of stabilization within the self, right? It's not something that you feel hard about the self with. It almost like creates it feels edifying, it feels reinforcing. And that's what I keep on seeing, that for a lot of the energy right now in separation, that ability to see that quality and characteristic in the other. Like, I see energy right now in separation, in the relationality of working through something, but not avoiding a hard conversation. Almost like that desire to confront something as it arrives instead of trying to avoid it. This is energy in separation, identifying grit in potential counterpart, right? And that is the energy. And when we see grit, like when we see grit in another, um, we feel safe, right? Because that is the energy that we see, that says that they don't move towards something because it's easy or it's convenient. They understand that when we want something, it's not conditional on the fact that the water is going to be smooth all the time, right? Like, if you set your course in a direction, right, and then the wind change, you don't go, oh, I guess we're going back, right? Like it's like, oh no, like, yep, forget it. No, you continue through it. You know what I mean? Like you move forward and you move through it regardless. And so that's why I keep on identifying right now that there's something really beautiful about the energy understanding and recognizing the grit that we see as it relates to building into a connection of seeing the quality and characteristic in counterpart of not only just like being able to articulate upon a manifestation goal, but also having the point of determination in recognizing what it takes to get somewhere. You know what I mean? Continuing to get clarification between our Four of Wands in its upright in combination with our Nine of Wands in its reversal. Can I have one card to clarify, please? Clarification coming through right now with that Nine of Swords in its upright. It's not about things being easy right now. Nothing's easy right now. Easy now is not about easy. Now is about no trouble at all, right? now is now is not about easy. It's about no trouble at all. It's about identifying what it energetically takes. It's like a little bit of that, like it's a little bit of that all hands on deck kind of energy, right? Because when we're working through that context, our ability to do so, it feels it feels it's like again, I keep on hearing productive conversations. It feels like a lot of that modality of being able to articulate and amplify how we can do something better, and that's a bit of the gift of the like the retrograde period. Remember that I said that because when we're going through a lot of the work right now, and I keep on pointing this out, Mercury retrogrades do not come here to just make confound us. They come here to help us innovate. They help us recognize what feels like it is an alignment to us or something that we can do to make something energetically easier, right? And that's why I keep on telling you guys not to take things personally right now, but be productive as you move through frustration. Because when we try to think productively around frustration, we don't take things personally. We just get practical. And I keep on seeing that's why for a lot of the energy right now coming into divine union, this feels like a lot of energy in relationality to observing and recognizing what effectively feels productive, right? Like what effectively feels like this is the energy I keep on hearing. And this is why the energy is saying no regrets, right? Because when we come into the space of no regret, we say there's no point in regretting. Why regret when the gift of being able to look back and recognize that there's something that you could do differently? Welcome to the present. You know what I mean? Like the present is the reason that the present is a gift is it gives you the opportunity to heal from the space of regret. While for masculine and feminine right now, deep within divine union, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what one feels most aligned to, clarification between our Ace of Cups in combination with our Nine of Pentacles in its reversal. Can I please get one card to clarify? We've got here our Ace of Pentacles in its reversal. So I keep on hearing that there's something really beautiful that is happening right now across the frequencies in working through the context of not only working towards a manifestation goal, but also recognizing and identifying what it takes to get there. Okay. Like we're talking a lot about that space of like understanding the difference between a wish and a manifestation, right? When you wish for something to be different, you just sit around and you don't do anything about it. You're like, oh, I wish that this could change. That's not a manifestation. A manifestation is a wish that is brought into action, right? A manifestation is a conversation with existence. And when the conversation is basically saying, this is what I aspire and desire for, this is what's outside of my control, this is what I'm going to do to try to move closer to that direction, right? It's a collaborative effort. And so I keep on seeing that, I keep on hearing across all of the frequencies right now doing this work, no wishes. It's a wish-free zone because when we don't wish for things to be different, right? We just do that. We just identify what we could be doing to make things different. And so it's beautiful because I keep on hearing it's the magic of being disillusioned, right? It's working in the context of understanding that our own ability to change and adapt is incredible because it allows for the context wherein anything can be possible, right? Continuing to get clarification between our five of pentacles in con in I want to I want to say in combination, but it was coming out in conversation. So in combination or in conversation with the eight of swords, and it's upright. Can I get one card to clarify? We've got here our 10 of pentacles, right? There's a lot of this energy right now about being like what we hold on to, right? There's a lot of that work that we're seeing that is occurring right now in understanding the preciousness of the things that we hold on to. And I'm going to tell you right now, with like a lot of a lot of Neptune moving out of Pisces into Aries, it has a lot to do. It's hitting us a lot it's hitting us right in the feels. I'm going to tell you right now, it's hitting us right in the feels because it dwells in the space of sentiment, right? And what happens when things are dwelling in the space of sentiment is we're able to identify and articulate what has meaning to us, right? And there's something about the intrinsic nature of being able to talk about something that holds significance and importance to us, that has its own form of energetic productivity. It's the articulation point wherein we identify and recognize what is possible. But again, and this is why I keep on identifying it to a certain extent as Renaissance energy, because when we look at Renaissance energy, we look at the past with a new context, right? We look at something and we understand something that feels like it brings some even more clarity to us in the process of doing so. And so I keep on recognizing and identifying that there's something very important about that work across all of the frequencies right now. Now, for masculine and feminine, again, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what one feels most aligned to, a lot of that work, it feels, I keep on seeing it's more of the same work that I'm seeing as it relates to disassembling instead of disassociating, right? Because when we disassociate, we talk about something in the context of the fact that we don't want to talk about it. We don't want to energetically address it, right? We don't want to articulate upon it. And again, one of the things that's important about that is in some contexts, right? We have to articulate everything is an energetic gift to an extent. Because sometimes, like when we're navigating trauma, there are things that we are not ready to talk about, right? And this is important to identify because the difference, I keep on hearing, it has to do with the articulation and identification point of readiness, right? Because when we are fully disassociated, we don't talk about anything. We just don't talk about it. We don't talk about it. We don't talk about it. That's not healthy, right? Sometimes we go through moments and there's something that we want to address, but we identify that we're not ready to have the conversation because something is too fresh. And that's why I keep on getting the message that when we work through the context of navigating situations that we feel we have to disassociate from, there is an aspect of disassociation that can feel healthy, but it has to do with being able to articulate and put a time limit on something, right? Right. When we have those moments that we feel like we're disassociating, right? But we also understand that we're in the process of healing something. We have those moments where we contextualize and say, I am not ready to talk about something. But in the state of identifying readiness, we're already amplifying the fact that we are healing because we're saying the day I am working towards the day that I can talk about something and it will feel restorational to the self to do so. Even in the context of saying readiness, it articulates the ability that someone is moving in the context of being able to have a conversation, to allow for a space of effective healing. However, sometimes when we're harboring something, right, when we're holding something, we just say, I refuse to talk about it, right? I don't want to talk about it. And that often can exist in the space of the ego because, again, the ego can be energetically overprotective. But often, when we're overly protective on something, it doesn't create the capacity in order for us to heal. So I keep on seeing that there's something really beautiful that's like happening right now across the frequencies as it relates to navigating difficult conversations. And in some of those spaces, there may be the articulation point of someone saying, I'm not ready to talk about it. But even in the space of another person saying, I'm not ready to talk about it, they're saying the day will come that we will be able to have that conversation. There is something productive that can be yielded from that. Versus situations where someone refuses to talk about something, avoids talking about it, pretends that it's not there, which can create what I like almost again like no like and in a healthy relationship, those don't exist because often those spaces, it's like you sometimes feel like you're in a relationship and you're banging into walls you didn't know were there, right? It's like often creates those spaces where it feels like you're walking on eggshells because you don't know what to do when you hit those modalities of energetic silence. So I keep on seeing that for a lot of energy right now, what is healing? What is healing is healthy conversations, productive conversations, and that doesn't feel like someone is forced to talk about anything, but being able to amplify and recognize what they are ready to address or what they're still working on to get to the point that they can address it. Final card for today's spread between our Ace of Pentacles in its reversal in combination with our Ten of Pentacles in its upright. Can I have one card to clarify? There it is. I love it. I love our Six of Swords in its reversal right now because what happens in those moments or in those circumstances where we're able, I keep on hearing, airing frustration is healing. Because again, I keep on hearing frustration is not blame, right? Frustration is not blame. Frustration is not blame because when we're frustrated by circumstances, we're able to identify why. When we're frustrated by circumstances, we're like, this is what's going on, right? You're able to like just articulate, you're able to pinpoint what the issue is. So there's something that feels like a relief at times being frustrated, right? Because sometimes you can, that's why we have conversations and be like, we're frustrated through them, but it feels good to get them off our chest because when we're frustrated and another person validates our frustration, they say, yes, you are correct in the problem there. We go, oh, thank God, I'm not the one creating the trauma. Oh, hallelujah. Right? Like, that's why we feel relief when we air frustration, because we're saying to someone, what do we often say when we're airing frustration? What are the words we usually end frustration on? Am I wrong? Like, am I wrong here? Because we're not looking to be reinforced, right? We're looking to be corrected. We're like, please tell me if there's something here that I've got off because I'll calibrate for it. And sometimes when we have our frustration validated, it's even more frustrating, but it feels like a relief because someone else says, yes, you're correct. I can prove the proof that your frustration is accurate, right? Like that in itself is its own healing. And I feel like that is something that's happening across all the frequencies because I keep on hearing it's the accurate frustration that feels like a breath of fresh air, right? It's that moment that we feel again, and the reason that we don't feel the reason that we don't feel like, and it's again, the ability to be frustrated is a gift because it doesn't feel that it's just, I keep on hearing, it doesn't feel like it's just padding the ego, right? It's almost that space that you say to someone, like, please, if there's something else I can do, tell me. And someone's just like, no. And you're like, okay, good, right? It's like, it's clarifying. And so I keep on hearing, like, this is why it's chariot energy because this is the energy that says, if something is wrong, you'll tell me, right? And the energy goes, yes. And they go, hallelujah. That is our daily collective read for today. I want to thank you guys so much for being here to receive it. Just a reminder, if you would like to book a private reading with me, you can do so on my website. Please keep in mind, if you book a private reading with me, it is a 2-step process. You have to book the reading and you have to pay for the reading. Please make sure you do both if you would like to have that reading. Most importantly, please remember that I will never, ever, 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 ever reach out to you for a private reading. I will never DM you. I will never PM you. I will never slide into your inbox and tell you that I have a very important message that only I can deliver. The only way you can book a reading with me is, oh gosh, I forgot the bottom of the deck. Perfect. We're going to pause for a minute. I just want to express Again, a perfect Venus in retrograde, Mercury retrograde moment. I forgot to give you guys the bottom of the deck. All right, just bear with me a moment. Bottom of the deck on today's reading. We've got here our six of wands in its upright. We got a lot of how many sixes do we have in the deck today? This is our second six. So, here's the thing about it. Like you one of the things that we have to navigate, I'm just going to point it out again, with a lot of this work that we're still going through with Mercury in retrograde and Venus in retrograde, is often things that feel like they're going wrong at the most inopportune times, right? Like, I just got to tell you, if you feel like that is happening right now, if you're having moments that say, like, I couldn't do that again if I tried, like, that's welcome to this kind of energy right now. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a lot of that, like, just like, it's that wackiness. It's those moments where, like, it just feels like there's so many things that are happening that are going wrong at the same time, that it's like, don't get frustrated. Just just roll with like, just, I told you, it's like, it's improv energy, right? You just, when you go through, I need to point this out, and it has to do with letting go of expectations, right? This is a little bit of, again, that space, because what happens when we anticipate things, and then things start feeling like they're going wrong, it feels like a catastrophe, right? But here's the thing about it. When we go through things that feel like they're becoming a catastrophe, but we roll through them in a way that allows us to feel like we're rising to the challenge. We sometimes have these moments that are so unique, that are so like, there's a gift there, right? Because often, I need to point this out. Oh, okay, this is really important. When everything feels like it's going wrong, when everything feels like we're, like, navigating something that feels like it's a catastrophe, and we rise to the challenge, we discover an exquisite moment. We discover a moment that becomes unique and rare, in the fact that all of those things that are going wrong become an energetic anomaly, right? It's not so much as building into the devastation of working through something and getting mad that it isn't what you expect it to be. It's looking at a situation and saying, what do I need to find within myself to rise to the challenge, to arrive at the opportunity? So I want you to think about that right now as you're navigating circumstances or situations. That is our daily collective read for today. I want to thank you guys so much for being here to receive it. Just a reminder, if you would like to, as I've got a very pushy cat on my lap, I'd just like to remind you, if you'd like to book a personal reading with me, you can do so on my site. Please keep in mind, if you book a personal reading with me, it is a two-step process. You have to book the reading, you have to pay for the reading. Please make sure you do both if you'd like to have that reading. Also, please remember that I will never, ever, 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 ever reach out to you for a reading. The only way you can book a reading with me is if you do so on my website. I also want to let you guys know about a couple of updates today. First and foremost, thank you to everyone who participated in our recent class on the Justice Card. Our next class will be held on Wednesday, April 16th at 6 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. Eastern. We will be continuing our studies into the tarot with a focus on the Hangman card. If you would like to become a part of our tarot class program, all you need to do is head over to my site and my Substack and become a paid subscriber. Your paid subscription to my Substack is your ticket of entry into our live classes each and every month. You will also have access to the Tarot Church, over 9 hours worth of material in the Tarot Church Library Archive. Now, it's not necessary to have to catch up. I will do my best to give you updates on everything that we've studied thus far in our classes, but the material is there for you to receive when you're ready to receive it. You will also have access to a one-on-one chat with me and the other students to ask any questions that you may have in relation to anything that we've studied thus far. And if you become a founding member to my Substack, not only will you receive a discount on the full year's worth of classes, but you will also receive access to the entirety of the Tarot Church Library Archive. That's over 12 hours worth of material in an ever expanding library that will be at your hands. You'll also have access to the complimentary option of having a mentorship class with me, wherein I will meet with you personally and assess where you are on your personal tarot journey to give you the best insights in terms of how to utilize those classes to the best impact moving forward towards your personal tarot goals. One of the things I tried to do in these classes was make them accessible to the absolute novice tarot reader as well as the seasoned reader. There's definitely something there for everyone. Don't let your robust experience or your lack of experience prevent you from joining our class program. And even if you don't become a paid subscriber to my Substack, I would encourage you to follow me there to stay up to date on any new offerings or services. I post my weekly newsletter there, which will let you know about my in-person events as well as my online live schedule. You'll also be notified as to any giveaway information. And speaking of any offerings that I'm also offering as well, I'm very happy to now be offering mentorship classes. These are for any of my clients that are seeking a more personalized educational experience with me. I take a very limited number of students for this reason, as those classes are focused on each individual's personal spiritual goals and journey work. Those classes can be purchased on an individual level or as a monthly class series, weekly or biweekly as your schedule permits. Also, for my clients that are seeking more consistent weekly tarot support, I'm very happy to offer weekly tarot insight packages. That is a package of 4 30-minute readings, again, weekly or biweekly as your schedule permits, so that you can stay more consistent on your personal journey. I'm also very now happy to offer dream interpretation readings. Those can be purchased on an individual level or as a series. I do want to remind you that if you purchase the class series of dream interpretations, to make sure that you start to keep a dream journal, as we will meet weekly or bi-weekly with that journal and utilize the tarot to understand the key themes and messages coming through to you in the dream space. I want to thank you guys so much for being here today and sharing in these messages, and we will do this again tomorrow. That is our daily collective read. I want to thank you guys so much for being here and experiencing it. Congratulations to Lioness. You got our highest gifter for today. And Ruby, congratulations. You got second. So you will also have additional cards pulled. If anybody else would care to get on the list for today, you will be the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 person read for. It is 3 cards for a donation of 28 or more. 4 cards for a donation of 22 or more for my subscribers, links in my bio. Please keep in mind there are 2 things I do not read for on these apps: pregnancy and medical. Happy to give insight on anything in private readings, and you can book a private reading on my site. I am going to take a moment to read over some of the comments that came through as I was reading. I need to get this little girl off my lap. She was being a nudge. I love her. Strega, what was getting into you, man? Also, just a reminder, if you would like to see today's spread, you will find it over on my Substack. I'm going to be taking a photo of it now. I would encourage you to go take a look at today's spread. It's very lovely. All right, there we go. Thank you so much. And I'm going to take a minute to read over some of the comments that came through as I was reading. If you'd like to get on the list right now, you'll be the 6th person read for. We are also at 25.8K likes over on the Clock app. When we get to 50K, I will be gifting a reading back to the collective. So make sure you're tapping that screen. I'm going to take a few minutes to read over some of the comments that came through as I was reading. Thank you as well. Hi there, Little Vamp. Thank you for those gifts. And also, I will point out the list is going to be very short today. So if you'd like to get on the list, please do so sooner rather than later if you'd like to secure your spot. And Jamie, thank you for the follow. Grand Rising, Dwan. Hope you're having a beautiful day. I'm well. I didn't sleep great, Frida. I never sleep well. And I've got you, Little Vamp. Hi there, Bridget. So good to see you today. Well, most grow out of it. Yes, absolutely. And I've got you on the list as well. Hi there, Amanda. All right. Free, and thank you as well. And Grand Rising, Haley. Adrian, thank you for the follow. I love it here. We just got to help each other. We don't believe in support anymore. Tap to claim, Unjane. Beautiful way to say that. Life is whatever you choose it to be. Tap to claim as well, Bridget. You are the creator of your own experience. Tap to claim. You're so welcome, Audrey. And thank you as well for sharing the live, Audrey. Always appreciate when you guys share the live. Lotus, thank you so much for the follow. Hi there, Shelly. It's a beautiful day. Enjoy your weekend. You as well, dear. Hope you have a beautiful one. I love how you break it all down. I do my best, Lotus. And Yin Yona, thank you for confirmation. Vani, thank you for the follow. Bridget, I'm trying to work through all of this frustration. You're not trying. Remember, trying is a qualifier to doing. You're doing it. Okay? Bridget, I'm putting myself in timeout. Everyone leave me be. I love it. And Celeste, thank you for sharing the live. What works for me? Not puppies. Exactly. Take the note. Exactly. Lesson learned. D, ideal is what you make, not what you find. Tap to claim. Feeling called out right now. I hope called out in a good way, Elisa. Grand Rising, Susie, welcome. And wow, that is way too accurate. Thank you as well, Sacred, for receiving these messages. Thank you for confirmation, Elisa. Is it possible for you to channel deities? Susie, so the way I usually articulate that is when I do highest priority messages from spirit, your highest guides come through. So if you are someone who is in close proximity to an energetic source, it's very common that during a spirit-led reading, they will communicate through the reading itself. So again, that's kind of the best way I describe it. Your guides will come through in a highest priority message from spirit reading. This is insane how on point this is today. My DM and I have literally been navigating these wounds. I thank you as well, Sacred, for being here and confirming this reading. He has admitted he is avoidant this morning. And I will also point out, like a lot of the work that we do as well, Susie, in the context of my mentorship reading, like classes, those that I'm working, like I work with to help them find their spiritual journey. It's very common for us to be working through the space of whatever energetic connections that you're building forth in that context. I hope that makes sense. He admitted he is avoidant this morning. Well, again, that in itself is its own form of breakthrough. So congratulations there, Sacred. And that's exactly what we're talking about here. It's almost eerie how accurate this is today. I'm so glad that these messages are in alignment to your journey. And thank you as well, Addie. Jay, thank you for the follow. Yes, that's the culprit of the microphone mishap. I forgive them. Were you able to hear me? I apologize if I fell out for a few minutes. Yeah, we've got to work on that. If you guys have any suggestions on something I can put on cords to keep a cat from wanting to eat those cords, I would be very happy to hear that. That's my takeaway. And Mother, thank you. Thank you, K-Van, for the follow and for the gifts. Thank you for the help, Bridget. I'm floored by the accuracy. Oh my God, I love my cat. I love your cat. I love her too, but sometimes she's a little extra. Okay. Oh, and thank you, Bridget, for reminding me about the bottom of the deck. Perfect example of a Venus-Mercury retrograde mishap right there. The level of retrograde today is high. Tap to claim. I told you coming out of this eclipse is almost harder than being in it. I was like, this feels incomplete for some reason. Well, I appreciate you. Thank you, Bridget. Yes, rising to the challenge, like knotting up socks and freezing them. For a puppy, I'm learning to help. That's a great idea, Bridget. You're so welcome, Timo Sonnet. You're so welcome, Bridget. You're so welcome, Addie. You're so welcome, Audrey. And thank you for those gifts. Congratulations to Linus and Ruby for winning today. Hi there, Grace. Good to see you. I got you, Ruby. Hold on. Is there any way I could get my cards earlier? I'm going to be hanging out with my friends soon. As long as everyone on the list is okay with Ruby going first, I'm good with it too. Can anyone on the list right now just put if you have an issue with Ruby going first right now, just put an N in the chat. But if not, yeah, or put a Y in the chat if you're okay with it, and I'm happy to bump you up on the list. Hi, I'm doing well, Leela. How are you doing today? Addie, the energy lately is very soap opera with Twilight Zone and a laugh track. I'm gonna pin that because I think you just nailed it to the wall, Addie. Like yes, that's what we can expect. Like that's what we can expect with like Neptune moving forward and Mercury moving backwards. You know, you're so welcome, Susie. Ella, my cat only enjoys the very thin cords on my earbuds and chews them up in a nanosecond. I think, here's the thing with Strega is she knows what to do to get my attention. And unfortunately, she's figured out that nibbling on cords is a good way of getting my attention. And I certainly can't like ignore her when she's doing that. I just need to figure out a way to like I've heard cats don't like citrus. I'm thinking about getting some citrus to put on them. Thank you, Denise. Thank you guys for confirming. I appreciate you guys helping each other on the in the list order. All right, if that's the case, thank you guys. We're going to get started on personal readings. Just a reminder, the list is going to be short today. Butter spray. Okay, I just don't want it to get on everything. I don't want something that's going to like leave residue. I'll have to look into that. Thank you for the suggestions, Grace. All right, we are going to get started on, and I also don't want her to hurt herself. Like I don't want her to like zap herself. Bitter, yes. Like I don't think she realizes what can happen if she's gnawing on a cord like that. Lemon juice and cayenne. I don't like that. I don't want to burn her mouth. Like I can do the lemon juice though. All right, my friends, we are going to get started on the list. The first person I'm reading for today is going to be Ruby. If anyone else wants to get on the list right now, you will be the sixth person read for. 3 cards for a donation of 28 or more. 4 cards for a donation of 22 or more for my subscribers. Links in my bio. Please keep in mind there are 2 things I do not read for across these apps. Those are pregnancy and medical. Happy to give insight on anything in private readings, and you can book private readings on my site. Also, friends, we're at 26K likes. When we get to 50K, I will be gifting a reading back to the collective. So make sure you're tapping that screen. Also, tapping the screen shares the live out to the larger community. So it's always appreciated. OG, I used to just keep a laser pointer around and then they just follow it away from whatever. It's not a bad point. They were doing that was naughty. That's not a bad idea either. You won't. I'm a former vet tech. Not a lot, just a kick with the bitter. Okay, that's fair. Natural apple bitter spray. I'll definitely look into that, Catherine. Thank you guys so much for the suggestions. All right. We're going to go ahead and read over Ruby. Will I have a breakthrough in finances this week? Can I get 4 cards for Ruby, please? Highest priority messages from Spirit. Highest priority messages from Spirit and relationality as to what to expect. One more, please. I mean, Ruby, this, the thing I see about this is I'm getting a lot of confirmation here. I'm also seeing, I keep on hearing there's some kind of plan put in. I keep on hearing the solution is in the plan, right? I'm getting a lot of this message of like the best time to plant a tree was like 3 years ago. The next best time is now. They're giving me like I see some kind of circumstance or situation that I see you just addressing. And then almost like in the moment of addressing it, it becomes easier. Like I almost keep on hearing something like, I'm not sure why I procrastinated so long on something, Yeah, I think the waiting is the hardest part, is what I keep getting. Like it feels like a little bit of this, like the waiting is the hardest part, or being able to recognize and identify. It feels like I keep on hearing like relief, but relief in the form of a plan. You know what I mean? Like relief in the form of being able to see something that feels like it's productive, you know? And I keep on hearing it's bittersweet relief. You know what I mean? Like it's not like it's like I keep on seeing like it's like there's something about it that I'm almost identifying that like allows for something to get easier going forward. You know what I mean? Like it's like it's a breakthrough, but it's a breakthrough in relationality to some kind of plan or something that you put into practice. Like it's like a commitment to yourself or some kind of like some kind of innovation that makes something easier going forward. So keep that in mind as well. Thank you so much for having that reading with me, Ruby. And if this message connected to you as well, it's very common for those who need these messages to be here to experience them. We are doing personal readings right now. If you would like to get on the list is open. It is 3 cards for a donation of 28 or more. 4 cards for a donation of 22 or more for my subscribers, links in my bio. Please keep in mind there are 2 things I do not read for across these apps, pregnancy and medical. Happy to give insight on anything in private readings, and you can book a private reading on my site. Next person we're reading for today is Amanda. And Amanda, thank you so much for being the first person on the list. You will have the first card. You'll have an additional card in your reading. I'm going to take a moment to read over some of the comments that came through as I was reading. If you would like to get on the list is open. You will be the 5th person read for. It is 3 cards for a donation of 28 or more. 4 cards for a donation of 22 or more for my subscribers. Links in my bio. Please keep in mind there are 2 things I do not read for. Also, we are at 26.1K likes. When we get to 50K, I'll be gifting a reading back to the collective, so make sure you're tapping that screen. Thank you, Grace, for those adorable gifts. All right. Good call. Thank you as well, Grace. You're so welcome, Ruby. Hi there, little vamp. Hopefully that means I'll make money this month. It feels to me like there's some kind of breakthrough that's happening in finances, something getting easier. And thank you guys so much for allowing Ruby to move ahead in the list. All right. Appreciate for appropriate for Strega. Absolutely. No, I agree, Grace. I love it. All right. Next person we're reading for today, second call. Little vamp. Can you let me know if you'd like a general reading or if you have a specific question you'd like me to answer? And if anybody else wants to get on the list right now, you'll be the 5th person read for. For anyone who'd like to get on the list right now, it is 3 cards for a donation of 28 or more. 4 cards for a donation of 22 or more for my subscribers. Links in my bio. Please keep in mind there are 2 things I don't read for across these apps, pregnancy and medical. We do highest priority messages from spirit here, angelic readings. We also do mediumship readings, life path. We do dream interpretation readings as well. The only things we don't read for are pregnancy and medical. And thank you for those roses, Grace. All right. Hi, and pets. Thank you, Bridget. We also do pets. We also do past life, and we also do, I will point out, if you're asking for a dream interpretation or past life reading, I would encourage you to make sure you can actually, if you have information you feel are relevant for those readings, you can always put it either in the note when you send the donation, or you can put it please in the, you can also put it in the Discord if you are a subscriber. We have channels for both highest priority message. We have channels in the Discord for the past life as well as the dream interpretation. All right, we're doing a general right now for Little Vamp. 5 cards, please. Highest priority messages from Spirit, please. Highest priority messages from Spirit. All right. Okay. What is this? This is like some nonsense. That's a lot. You know, I love the fact that you wrote, oh, geez. It's not, I mean, listen, here's the thing. It's not nonsense if you don't like, I keep on hearing like, you have like, you know what? Nonsense requires your consent is what I'm getting. You know what I mean? Like it's giving me a little energy that feels like it's like honor you're absolutely not. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing about it. And it also feels like having to work through some kind of context of peer pressure. You know, like this feels like peer pressure. And the thing is, and I got to point this out, you know, the voice of reason, sometimes when we have to be the voice of reason, it feels like we have to like navigate through peer pressure. You know, like that's like literally the issue or the circumstance. like it's giving me like your guides are kind of saying to me, like, if everyone else is like jumping off a bridge, you know, like you just like if it doesn't make any sense, who cares how many people are doing it? You know what I mean? It's like it's giving me like don't believe the hype. You know what I mean? Like, and I gotta like, and I'm glad that you're saying that. Like, I'm glad that you're saying that you understand this because like it's saying that there's something about like some kind of circumstance that you're doing, and I keep on saying your no can be polite. Your no thank you can be like polite. They're saying like don't confuse politeness with with having to agree to everything. I keep on hearing you can politely agree to disagree. It's impolite to be demanding. Like that's the thing about it. Like courtesy isn't about agreeing with everything everyone else is agreeing with. Courtesy is being respectful in relationality to what another person is is oppositional about. But I need to stress this, you know, I got to point this out, and this is really important. Okay, if you're going, and I want you to, and again, this is why I'm going to tell you, I feel like there's something about the readings that we've been getting over the last few days that is really, really significant in relationality to some kind of circumstances or situations that you're working through, which is you can tell the difference between something that is logical and something that is stubborn in the ability to amplify why someone is holding on to something, right? And again, when we're holding on to something that is limiting us, right? Like a limiting belief, I'm getting a limiting belief is something that we hold on to, but we can't explain why because it feels good. Like it feels good. A limiting belief is something that we hold on to because it feels good, but we don't necessarily have to, we can't explain why we hold on to it, right? A sacred, something that is energetically intrinsic and important is something that we can identify that we hold on to because we understand like what it signifies. We understand what is energetically intrinsic. And this feels to me like I feel like you're going through some kind of expansion point. And this sometimes I often see energy like this as it relates to someone who's on a spiritual journey because it's working through the like I keep on hearing it's like it's working through being able to see the difference between an energetic belief and a fear, right? Like it's being able to see that to a certain extent. And I feel like I feel like that's happening here in some context, you know, and I feel like, this, I feel like this could be something that's like potentially leading to, if you're feeling any of like, I got to point out sometimes when I see someone on a spiritual journey, we talk about the fact that we go through like those moments. I feel like sometimes the spiritual journey brings us into hermit mode because we suddenly feel like we're not in energetic connection to those around us, right? Because we start pursuing the understanding of the self, and when we start confronting things that don't make sense, I feel like it's that point of being like, I see almost being like, I want to talk about it. Another person saying, I don't want to talk about it. And you being like, well, that doesn't make like that doesn't make any sense. Like, you know what I mean? Like that doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? Like it feels like, I feel like there's a little bit of this work. Um, you know, you're not alone. I'm going to stress that you're not alone. That is not unique in a good spiritual journey. That's often part and parcel for being on one. I want you to remember that, and I feel like again, often that moment, it's understanding that the energy around you hasn't changed. You've changed. You know what I mean? You're seeing things. You're seeing things in a broader context. So, don't let yourself get triggered. That's what I'm identifying that I think is the most important thing. Um, recognize what feels like a productive conversation. I keep on hearing, um, a good spiritual journey does not require you to have to convince others that you're on one, right? It's like it's something that we experience within. And I would definitely say I would put a lot of like, work on finding community right now. Like work on finding um like someone that you can speak to about what you're going through or how you're feeling, because I keep on seeing this right now. Like, I feel like, again, when I see all these cards together, like the one thing that I actually see is it feels like you're in hermit mode, right? And hermit mode is not feeling like alone in solitude, but finding solace in the space of understanding the self. And I keep on seeing, like, I feel like a lot of the work that you're focusing right now in relationality to your journey is like it's fine. I keep on hearing like it's finding your correct. It's like it's finding the energy that's in alignment to you, right? Like it's finding energy that is on the same journey, or understands what it feels like as we navigate that. And I want you to be patient with yourself as you're going through that experience. But I keep on hearing, like, the one message is coming through from your guides is, and I need to point this out, you know, and this is what I keep on seeing here. And I don't know why this is. I keep on seeing someone be like, I just want to talk to you. And you being like, I don't want to talk about it. But I'm also seeing here, it's like, if you feel like someone is, if like, if you're feeling like someone is trying to have a conversation with you, as to why you have to be more afraid, like you don't have to have that conversation. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing about it that I kind of see to a certain extent. I feel like, again, you get to decide what a healing conversation is, you know? And that's what I mean. Like, it almost feels like some kind of false placed worry. You know what I mean? Like someone being like, I'm worried about you, and I almost see you being like, mind your business. I mean this like again, like respectfully, like I like to point out, like sometimes namaste means like respectfully, not like mind your business. Like you know what I mean? Like it kind of means like you don't, if I'm not worried about me, you don't have to worry about me. And it's kind of impolite for you to be worried about me if I'm doing just fine. You know what I mean? Like you don't, like that's what they mean about not needing to have a productive like not needing to have to engage in a conversation that's trying to make you feel like you doubt yourself from a point that makes no sense. Like that, it's a very nuanced message. So, and I feel like you're saying yes to me, so you understand it, because, like, again, if someone holds on to something that doesn't make any sense, and they're trying to make you energetically afraid in the context of holding on to something that doesn't make sense, you don't have to have the conversation. Is what I see. Like that's the thing. Yeah, like again, it's not, and I keep on seeing that it's very much in alignment with, like, with what is articulating upon being able to have, like, I keep on hearing, like, a productive conversation is one that can answer the question why, right? And if someone says why and they say because, then that's not a productive conversation, right? So they're saying, like, pay attention to the energetic conversations that feel like they like, if someone is trying to, if someone is worrying about you because you're asking why on things, like, that's what I mean about it not being like help, like that doesn't feel like it's restorative. It almost feels like someone, like refusing to, like it, like, I know you're saying yes, so you know what I mean. You know what I mean? Like it's like I see you being like, as like I see you saying, like, remember, that's you saying, I'm willing to have a conversation that makes sense. They're saying that's how you can identify the boundary. Say, I'm willing to have a conversation, but only if the conversation we're having exists in the realm of logic. And thank you for saying, and like you can identify that as being your boundary, right? That's why they're saying, like, that's why they're bringing it forward. They're saying, let that be the boundary point. Say, I'm willing to talk, but only if I can ask this question. And if someone says, no, I won't answer those questions, you're like, well, then that's you choosing not to have the conversation. That's not me, right? Like, that's what I'm seeing. So thank you so much for having that conversation. Thank you so much for having that reading with me, Amanda. And if this message connected to you as well, it's very common for those who need these messages to be here to experience them. We are doing personal readings right now. If you would like to get on the list is open. It is 3 cards for a donation of 28 or more, 4 cards for a donation of 22 or more for my subscribers, Binks and my Lio. Please keep in mind, and I keep on hearing, you have permission not to have not to have a nonsensical conversation. Right? Like that's literally what I keep on hearing. You have permission to decline a nonsensical conversation. Um, the next person, if this the next person on the list, if you'd like to get on the list right now, you will be the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th person read for. It is 3 cards for a donation of 28 or more, 4 cards for a donation of 22 or more for my subscribers, Binks and my Lio. Please keep in mind there are 2 things I do not read for on this site, pregnancy and medical. Happy to give insight on anything in private readings, and you can book a private reading on my site. Also, if you're joining us across the other platforms and would like to get on the list, all you need to do is send the donation via my tree that has Binks in it in my Lio, and you'll also be added to the list. Next person on the list for today is Denise. Denise, if you're here, can you respond in all caps? Let me know if you would like a general reading, or if you have a specific question you'd like me to answer. And if anybody else would like to get on the list right now, as I mentioned, you'll be the 5th person read for. And just bear with me a moment as I read over some of the comments that came through as it was reading. Also, my friends, I'll be giving a reading back to the collective when we get to 50K. We're already at 27.4K, so make sure you're tapping that screen. We'll get to 50K in no time. All right, and just reading over some of the comments that came through as I was giving that reading. Rye, if you'd like to get on the list, it is 3 cards for 28 for non-subscribers. Thank you, Grace, for those roses. Oh, geez. Yeah, I do know what you mean. My friends keep advising me a certain way, and I don't agree. Well, and that's the thing. Like, again, it's polite to respect another person's choices. It's when we insist that we become impolite. That makes so much sense. I feel like no one understands me anymore. Thank you for confirming. You're not alone in that. And Carmen, thank you for the hearts. Hi there, dear. Thank you for confirmation, Amanda. I am, yes. I say I'm hibernating. I like that. That's a good way of describing it. I know exactly what you're saying. And thank you, Taro, for the follow. Thank you so much. This was very mind clearing. You're very welcome, dear. Highest priority messages for Denise, please. Highest priority messages for Denise. What does Denise need to know? Man, everybody's like going through it today. What is up? Okay. Let's work through it. Let's work through it. I gotta describe this right now. Listen, I'm gonna repeat what I was saying in relationality to this energy right now. Okay. This energy right now is almost worse than being in the eclipse proper. Why is that? Because like when we're going, like, I want to describe it like this. When we're going into the eclipse, we feel that anticipation, we feel that excitement, right? And then we're going through the eclipse and it feels like there's a lot of tension. There feels like a lot of that intensity. And then we come out of the eclipse cycles. And the thing with this, and the thing with the eclipse cycles, and that's why I always say, like, we have to be very conscientious and focus on self-care coming out of eclipse cycles, because there's a level or degree of ennui that occurs, right? And what's ennui? Which is like, it's almost like it's the energy of exhaustion and solace. Like, it's like, it's like repose. It's like energy in repose. And it can feel very like it can feel very irritable is what I get. It's like I like to describe it as cranky energy, right? It's like, "Ugh, I am not for the world today." You know what I mean? Like it's like that kind of energy. You know what I mean? It's like it's almost like it's Oscar the Grouch energy. It's like grouchy, you know? But that's why again, and I need to point this out, the whole difference between, you know, being a grouch and expressing that you are grouchy, like the ability to identify that you're feeling a certain way allows you to do something about it, right? It's like when we're in those spaces that we're just feeling like terrible and we're not recognizing and identifying why, like those are those moments that it requires its own like space of self-reflection. So I want you to be really compassionate for yourself right now. And again, if someone is coming towards you in a way that they're trying to create like anxiety or fear, you know what I mean? Like often that is the articulation point of someone that hasn't done their like shadow work on the self where they're trying to project their fears onto those around them. It's not like it's not your responsibility to navigate it, you know? And what's hard, I keep on seeing that when someone's projecting something onto you, sometimes the best thing you can do is step back from them and say like, look, I'm not going to engage with you when you're like this. I'm not going to engage with you when you're trying to look for a reason outside the self as to a source of what's going on or what's wrong, right? Because I keep on seeing that it's like I keep on hearing, if you're doing the work to navigate from your own like your own projections, you don't have to stay present for another person trying to project them onto you. And sometimes the best thing you can do is step back from someone when they're in that space that they're trying to project their fear onto you to help them recognize how ill placed it is. You know, like I literally have a situation where someone is just coming towards you in like a like some kind of incredibly rude way, and in the context that they feel like they're saying like, I'm trying to protect you, and being like, you're not protecting anyone, you're terrified, and you're amplifying that fear onto those around you, right? And so I want you to just be kind of mindful of that, because I don't want you to be reactive in that context. I want you just to be observant. And again, if someone's doing something in a way that feels like it's cyclical, because this does feel like, I feel like I don't see you having some kind of, all right, oh, this almost feels like a need. I need to point this out. There might be something that you have to like speak towards. There's something that you have to recognize and identify that you may need to say to another that feels almost like a point of intervention. And I want to point this out because it's saying to me that I almost see a situation where you've noticed that someone is in an unhealthy cycle. You know, like that's actually what I'm seeing here. And it's almost like what's so hard is when someone's in an unhealthy cycle, it's almost like you're seeing them repeat the same energetic projections. Like I can almost see you saying like I could set a watch to it. You know what I mean? Like I see you almost going, like I almost see you like literally saying, I almost see you looking at someone and being like, and now they're gonna, yep, there it is. Okay, you know what I mean? Like it's giving me a little bit of that. And so, you know, if that's occurring, maybe that's the conversation that you need to have with someone to help them identify like where the work could be. So it's like you can almost say to someone like, look, I want to bring something to your attention, right? Like I want to bring this to your attention. And you can do so in, I keep on hearing, you can do so in a way that doesn't feel accusational. You can do so in a way that says, look, I'm just putting this before you. How you choose to utilize it is entirely up to you. but I noticed something here, and I want to bring it to your attention so that to see if you yourself recognize it, right? Like that's almost the conversation that I'm getting, like I'm saying that you could have with someone. And again, like that, you know, and often, I feel like with these type of conversations, they can be really painful because like I can almost hear the guide saying, like, yeah, you could have someone that can have that moment and saying, how dare you? Right. But it's also those moments that you say to someone like, look, I'm not saying this in a way to make you have to feel bad about something. I'm trying to give you this so that you can do something productive with it. You know? Um, Bottom of the deck. Yeah, especially with like the justice card in its reversal. I keep on hearing like a loving, I keep on hearing when we really love someone, and I need to point this out. Um, when we love someone, we have hard conversations with them, right? Like when we care about someone, we often have those moments that we say, like, look, I'm telling you this, and I know that it might be hard for you to hear, but again, I'm doing so because I energetically care about you, right? And the thing about that, and I need to point this out, is you can do so in a way that you try to say to another, and that's why I keep on saying you can have that conversation lovingly. You can have that conversation and saying, um, and usually I want to point this out. You can usually tell that a conversation like that is authentic because there is no agenda. You know what I mean? Like it's not trying, I keep on hearing it's not trying to change someone into a space of what you desire if you have nothing connected to it. Like I keep on hearing if it doesn't serve you, like that's how you know that it's not you trying to like it's not coming from a negative place because I almost see you saying to someone, regardless of how you feel about me after that conversation, I feel like I'm trying to tell you this to help you. You know, the guides don't miss that. Like the guides recognize it. Um, you know, situations like this are so painful because it's almost like that expansion point of not wanting to see someone continue to perpetuate an unhealthy energetic cycle. But what like this is sometimes like that's what's so hard about conversations like this because sometimes this is how a rift occurs because someone being like if they're in a place where they're going to take it too personally, you say to yourself, well, better for you to know and for you to be in a space that you're upset than working in the context of not seeing it. You know what I mean? Like it's a hard, like I can see like the guides are basically saying, like it's almost giving me the energy the guides saying no pressure, like do so in a way, like trust your own intuition on it is what I keep on hearing. Trust your own intuition as to whether someone is ready to have a hard conversation. Thank you so much for having that reading with me, Denise. And if this, because that's the thing about it, I see you being like, and here's the thing: if you're worrying about it, that's why you're the best one to decide. Because if you're worrying about it, you know that you're not doing it for the sake of the self. You're doing it because you're really trying to think about what the best like course of action is. Thank you so much for having that reading with me, Denise. And if this message connected to you as well, it's very common for those who need these messages to be here to receive them. We are doing personal readings right now. If you would like to get on the list is open. It is 3 cards for a donation of 28 or more, 4 cards for a donation of 22 or more for my subscribers, Binks and Malio. Please keep in mind there are 2 things I do not read across these apps. Those are pregnancy and medical. Happy to give insight on anything in private readings, and you can book a private reading on my site. I'm going to take a minute to read over some of the comments that came through as I was reading. Also, friends, we're at 30.3K likes. When we get to 50K, I will be gifting a reading back to the collective. So make sure you're tapping that screen. We'll get to 50K in no time. And just bear with me a moment. Daisy, you are actually the next person on the list here. All right. This makes so much sense. Thank you again, Amanda, for having that reading with me. And Daisy, we're doing a general. I got you, please. Sophia, how are you doing today? And guys, I apologize for that individual who came in trying to strike fear. I've gone ahead and muted them. I hope they find the support that they need. Sophia, good afternoon. Good to see you. Today seems to be ungrouching to accept change. I love that for you, Sophia, and thank you for sharing the live. And Natasha, thank you for the follow. Liz, thank you for sharing the live. Thank you. I needed that. I do have tough conversations ahead at work. I see this. You know what I mean? Like, and it feels like it's like I keep on seeing, and they're saying again, like, again, I keep on seeing, like, saying to someone, look, I keep on seeing, like, and I keep on saying, like, a brave space. Be like, I'm telling you something, like, not to make you feel bad. I'm telling you something because I want to help you with it, you know? Like, almost like having to say to someone, like, look, I've noticed something and it's solvable, but we have to talk about what's going on. You know what I mean? Like it's saying to me, like, I keep on hearing, think of it as an intervention. And what happens with an intervention? What happens when you're trying to tell someone something difficult? You say, like, what's the overarching theme? I'm telling you this because I want to help, right? So let the compassion guide you in hard conversation. Thank you, Denise. And thank you for having that reading with me. And thank you for being a subscriber. Daisy, the live gets paused a lot. I'm not sure if you said my name. Okay, so we can absolutely change it to a love reading. But before we continue, I just want to confirm, is the live working properly for you? Because I want to make sure that you're in a space that the live isn't cutting out so that you can receive your reading. And if anybody else would like to get on the list right now, you will be the third person read for. The list is also very short today. If you'd like to get on the list, please do so sooner rather than later, and you will be added to the list. And if anyone wants to get on the list right now, you will be the third person read for. And thank you, Bella, for reaching member level 15. The same person as yesterday. I know. I mean, but I need to point out, I mean, I'm going to continue to mute them. There's obviously something here that they feel drawn to. But I'm going to say the same person to the same thing to the individual I muted yesterday. You're welcome to stay here. You're welcome to listen to the messages. You're welcome to engage in conversation. But if you're gonna be posting things that are threatening and trying to strike fear in others, then I'm going to have you refrain from conversation. And I don't want to have to do that, but I want you to recognize that you're projecting your fear on others, and that's not okay. Lioness, I've got you, dear. You're going to be read for after Daisy, dear. And thank you as well, Bridget. Okay. And so I'm just confirming, Daisy, can you just please confirm that you can hear this live before we continue? Thank you, Bella, for those beautiful gifts. And thank you. All right. Daisy, second call. I just want you to confirm that you're here before I start reading. All right, we're just going to pause a moment because I want to. I mean, Daisy was giving some indication that she was having some issues with the live, and I'm not seeing her message. So I just want to make sure that the live is, yes, I wanted a love reading. Okay, so I've got confirmation that you're here and that it's working. Perfect. All right. And just a reminder, if anybody else wants to get on the list right now, you'll be the third person read for. Can I please have 3 cards? 3 cards for Daisy. Highest priority messages from Spirit around love, please. Highest priority messages from Spirit around love. Ooh, we got 4 cards coming out. I mean, you know, I've got a lot of messages coming through that are very similar to what we were seeing in the Daily Collective, which is, and I keep on seeing, like, you know, perfect. We don't find perfect in a relationship. We make perfect. We don't find perfect in a relationship. We make perfect. We identify where we want to put the work in. But often, someone that wants to avoid a relationship will utilize the space of saying that the reason that you're not getting their best version of self, the reason they're not showing up is because something isn't perfect, right? Like that's that moment of saying, well, I would give you more, but you know, you know what I mean? Like it's giving me a lot of this, like we don't white glove our relationships because here's the thing, it's a fallacy, right? Because when someone says, well, the reason you're not getting the best of me is because this isn't perfect. Well, guess what? That's very convenient, isn't it? Because there's always something that we can perfect upon. There's always something. There's always a speck, right? You know what I mean? There's always a speck. There's always something. There's always something that we can find to give a reason as to why we're not showing up, right? It's not about finding reasons why another person isn't giving us their 100%. It's about giving our 100% because we want to move something into a space of being energetically perfect. And I keep on seeing, I feel like this message is really important for you right now because I feel like you're in some kind of context that you have to make a big decision about something, you know? Like this is like I keep on seeing that there's something here in relationality to something from the past versus something from the present, and the guides are saying don't confuse, don't confuse someone wishing for someone who's doing, right? Don't confuse someone who is always giving reasons, like giving don't confuse someone who always has a reason why not for someone who's always finding a reason to, right? Don't confuse energy that's constantly eager to pick something apart versus energy that's always eager to try to put something together better, right? And I feel like there's something really important about this because I just see, like, it feels to me like there's some kind of energy around you that has to be about a decision as it relates to energetically fixing something or starting something new. And I'm going to say something really important, okay? I'm going to say something really important to you. We do not, if there's some kind of situation or circumstance here that you are in separation and that you've started to build something forth with someone else and someone from the past is suddenly coming up and saying that they want to fix something, I want you to understand, I want you to remember, I keep on hearing, remember the amount of time that passed between, like, remember the amount of time that passed where an energy knew you were in separation as it relates to coming into partnership, okay? Because energy that comes towards us as we're building something new with another doesn't mean that they want to fix something. That, like, stop does not mean I'm ready to do something. I miss you doesn't mean I understand what needs to change. Being sentimental about something is not the same as identifying what one needs to do to make something better. So I want you to be very mindful of that because everything I keep on hearing, like around something here, is like having to make a choice, having to make an energetic decision. And the guides are saying, in relationality to that decision, is pay attention to the energy that honors you and honors what it is that they want to create with you versus energy that is always looking for an excuse as to why they're not showing up for you, right? Because those are like everything hinges. I keep on hearing everything hinges on that, right? And I keep on seeing because, like, and they keep on saying, remember that perfect is an illusion. Like perfect is something that we aspire for, but we always, like, it's always out of our grasp. It's always a little bit ahead of us, right? And when energy says the reason that they're not coming towards us is because we are not perfect. That what they're really saying is, I want to change you, right? When they're holding a standard of perfection that is outside of our own ability to see it, what they're really saying is, I want to change you. And I'm going to keep on articulating upon that change to, say to you that you have to change more before I give you something, instead of understanding that healthy partnership is not a space that is conditional upon the changes that we see in another. It is the moment that we let go, we surrender what may occur in order to move towards manifestations, and understanding that we grow together on that journey. Bottom of the deck on this reading. Yeah, again, I keep on hearing, especially with this 10 of swords, right? Because when another person says, the reason I'm not like, if we try to work towards a manifestation, and another person says, like, we're not there yet, you haven't done enough work on the self. We are always working on the self. It's mutual work. It's not waiting for the right time. It's understanding the right time is whenever we choose it to be. So make sure you're having practical conversations. And if you're trying to ask where something is going, and there is saying now is not a time, it's not the ideal circumstance, I want you to reaffirm and say to them, when's a good time for us to return to that conversation, right? It's not about kicking a can endlessly down the lane. You're saying to another person, this is not a wish, this is a manifestation. We move towards it, and we're going to return back to it. And because often that energy that says now is not the time, it's like it's never the ideal time to change something. Like, it's just figuring out, like, when you're ready to, like, make something become inconvenient. Thank you so much for having that reading with me, Daisy. And if this message connected to you as well, it's very common for those who need these messages to be here to experience them. We are doing personal readings right now. If you would like to get on the list is open. It is 3 cards for a donation of 28 or more, 4 cards for a donation of 22 or more for my subscribers, Binks in my Lio. Please keep in mind there are 2 things I do not read for across these apps. Those are pregnancy and medical. Happy to get insight on anything in private readings, and you can book a private reading on my site. Next person we are reading for today is Lioness. Lioness, if you're here, can you respond in all caps? Let me know if you'd like a general reading or if you have a specific question you'd like me to answer. And if anyone else would care to get on the list for today, you will be the second person read for. It is 3 cards for a donation of 28 or more, 4 cards for a donation of 22 or more for my subscribers, Binks in my Lio. Please keep in mind there are 2 things I do not read for across these apps, pregnancy and medical. Happy to give insight on anything in private readings, and you can book a private reading on my site. All right. And Natasha, thank you so much for the follow. Liz, thank you for sharing the live. Thank you. I needed that. I do have tough conversations. Thank you for confirming, Denise. Thank you for those hearts as well. And Daisy, thank you as well. You can absolutely. Thank you for having that reading with me. You're so welcome, Lioness. All right. Hi there. It's okay. I can definitely confirm that, user. Can you let me know where you sent the donation, and I'll confirm? And can you also give me the first name that it was sent under? Or if not the first name, or the first letter of the name that it was sent under, whatever you're comfortable with. All right. And Adriana, love, I would like to know what the future holds for my current relationship. I've got you, dear. And thank you so much for those gifts during the live. Can I please get 3 cards for Lioness around love, please? Highest priority messages from Spirit, please. Highest priority messages from Spirit on love in relationship. Thank you. We've got 4 cards coming out. We're going to read all of them because that's what we do. I see some kind of circumstance or situation where someone is like taking some accountability in terms of what they need to change. You know, like this is giving me, I see someone's priorities changing, but I feel like they're changing in a positive way. Like it feels a bit like someone ready to take some kind of accountability on something. Um, there's what do I want, I keep on hearing like it feels like a big apology. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing I'm finding so unique about it. But it feels like a big apology, but it feels like an authentic. It feels like an authentic apology. And the reason I'm sensing something here that feels like an authentic apology is, I need to point this out. An authentic apology is not conditional in relationality to how we receive it. Like that's the important thing about like an authentic apology is, it's giving me the type of energy. It says, like, this is where I recognize I need to do the work. This is what I need to take accountability for. Um, but I also have a kind of energy of someone saying, like, I also understand if that's not something that you are available for. There's a lot of, I want to say, I'm getting the sense of someone in some kind of space of, I keep on hearing navigating an apology with an open palm. And I like that because it's saying to me, it's someone that says, like, I understand, like, I'm going to do this work like, it's not conditional. I keep on saying it's not conditional on being together. Like, it's conditional on like, and I like to point this out. Like, when we're really doing work on ourselves, we don't do it as a condition of being in a relationship. We do it because we know it's good for us. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I mean. Like, that's what I see. Like, I see the energy saying, I'm doing this because I know it's moving me towards my highest good, right? I'm doing it because it's building in the context of understanding that I almost see someone that is starting to recognize their blind spots. They're starting to see like they're starting to see others' perceptions on things. Like, this is giving me someone who's doing a lot of work in healing their egoic shield. And sometimes when we're healing that egoic shield, it's hard because we can feel very vulnerable, but we understand how, like, sometimes when we're too guarded, we don't allow anyone in. It makes it impossible to build a relationship with us. So I almost hear someone saying, like, pardon our appearance. I almost hear someone saying, like, I understand this is something that I need to get better at doing. Um, they're saying, remember that words mean nothing without action. So, I feel like a lot of this is going to help as it relates to them being able to be consistent and not falling back into old energetic patterns. And I feel like as long as this is energy that identifies and recognizes that this is something that they need to work upon on their self. I see it's hard for you too, you know. I feel like this does feel like a bit of like some kind of like tenderness between you and another, identifying and recognizing like what you need to work on. Um, but I keep on hearing, you know, the vulnerability in itself is its own hallmark of progress. The ability to take accountability and recognize that's half the work. Now it's just being kind of now it's just being consistent. And I feel like I keep on hearing you've got to put some new rules in place. You can't, like, look, whatever this was that happened, you can't say it's not going to happen again. You got to say what's going to happen next time it happens, right? Like, what's going to happen next time one of us is triggered? What's going to happen? What are we going to do differently? Like, you have to arm. They're saying you have to armchair quarterback something. that occurred to say, look, this is what we're going to do next time. Don't say it'll never happen again. Say it'll never happen again because this is what we're going to do next time, right? Don't just wait and see. Like build build that new plan is what I keep on hearing. Bottom of the deck. Yeah, like there's something definitely here that can be restored. But the thing is, I see the fact that you and another person carry very similar wounds. You get very triggered, and then it's like you guys are like a pinball. Like want to be like that's a problem when when we carry the same wounds. It can be very challenging to be in relationship because it's like who it doesn't matter like it's like who's like it's like as soon as one person gets triggered the other person reacts, and it's like, you know what I mean, like, and that's why I keep on hearing it doesn't matter who starts it, it's how we arrive to it, right? It's about coming into the space of identifying and recognizing where you're putting that work. So I want you to be very conscientious about that because I keep on hearing like you cannot sweep things under the rug. When we have very similar um, uh, wounds, we can't just say we'll just make sure that doesn't happen again. It's going to happen again. You're going to get triggered. It's about what you do in the space of being energetically triggered. It's I keep on saying catching yourselves. Like I keep on hearing catching yourselves falling into old patterns, right? You know? So I keep on hearing like, you know, and again, I'm also getting the sense there has to be an agreement between you and them that the past is not is I keep on hearing the past is a library. It's not an armory. And why are they saying the past is a library? It's not an armory. Because you can go back to the past for reference. If something that is occurring in the present feels similar to something that happened in the past, you can refer to it because it is allowing for a moment of doing something better, but you cannot arm yourself with it. You can't say, well, I'm doing this because you did that, because you did that, because no weapons, only references, only comparisons, not utilizing the past to hurt each other. That has to be a firm rule, right? Like I keep on seeing the past is a healing center. It is not a weapons depot. Okay. Thank you so much for having that reading with me, Lioness. And if this message connected to you as well, it's very common for those who need these messages to be here to experience them. We are doing personal readings right now. If you would like to get on the list is open. You'll be the second person read for. It is 3 cards for a donation of 28 or more, 4 cards donation of 22 or more for my subscribers, Pinks in my Lio. Please keep in mind there are 2 things I do not read for across these apps, pregnancy and medical. Happy to give insight on anything in private readings, and you can book a private reading on my site. Next person on the list for today is Aurelie. Aurelie, if you're here, can you respond in all caps? Let me know if you'd like a general reading or if you have a specific question you'd like me to answer. Also, I just want to confirm, I'm being told right now by someone in the chat that the live is glitching. Can you guys confirm if that is the case, if you are also experiencing that? And I'm going to take a moment to read over some of the comments that came through as I was reading. I got you, dear. Happy to do a general for you. Hardy, I'm going to say the same thing that I always say. I'm afraid I don't take that form. I take, you know, you can head over to my profile and you can see all of the forms payment that I accept. I can't. I mean, again, that's how I can help you. I think like if that's what's available. I'm happy to read for you if you'd like to get on the list. I also do readings for the gift of a baby dragon. So if you'd like to give the gift of a baby dragon, I'm also happy to do a reading for you as well. Okay. And thank you again, Lioness, for having that reading with me. And thank you for, and I wish you the best of luck on your journey. Yep, I've got you, dear. Bridget, I dozed off during the collective for a bit and had a dream. I put it in Discord so I would remember it. I love it, Bridget. Anytime you want to have that read for, just let me know. I feel like he is trying to change. No, I see it. I definitely see an energy here that is working, like is recognizing the change that is necessary. Yes, I see it. And I'm trying to help as much as I can, being understanding and patient. Again and again, patience with progress. Um, Crystal, as soon as to one card readings, I'm happy to read. I'm happy to pull a card for you. Yes, makes so much sense. And thank you so much. It helped me so much. And I know what needs to be done. I'm so glad that these messages help Lioness and sending you so much support on that journey. Little Vamp, the past is a healing center, not a weapons depot. I love that. Thank you for also receiving that message, Little. Hi there. It's fine. Thank you for letting me know it's fine, Ava. Not for me, not glitching. Sometimes it's just person's Wi-Fi. Okay, so what I would suggest, thank you as well for letting me know, Watson. So for, hold on a minute. So Crystal, what you might want to do right now is, it sounds like it's on your end, so you might want to close the app and reopen it and see if it's still occurring. I hope that helps, but thank you for notifying me. And New, thank you for getting on the list for today. You'll be read for after Areli. If anyone else wants to get on the list right now, you will be the third person read for. All right, and I'm just a reminder, the list is going to be very short today, so if anyone else would like to get on the list, I would encourage you to do so sooner rather than later if you would like to have a reading, because I will be closing the list shortly. All right. And just bear with me one moment before we get started. Okay, perfect. I've got you, New. Thank you for getting on the list, dear. And we're doing a general right now. General right now for user. 3 cards, please. Highest priority messages from Spirit, please, please. Thank you. I feel like I see some kind of issue right now, like occurring between you and another person. And, you know, here's the thing that I'm seeing around something, which is if someone is, I'm not, all these readings right now are having to deal with projections. If I feel like you've got a guide that says recognize an unreasonable, recognize an unreasonable expectation. And what is an unreasonable expectation? Um, and I got a point. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through a few things. So when we are holding on to something like too tightly, and we've all been guilty of this. We almost like when we hold on to the past too much, it makes it impossible to heal in the present, right? It's like I keep on hearing, you know, like I keep on hearing messages, which is like accountability does not require one to grovel, is what I keep on hearing. You know, accountability does not require one to grovel because it's understanding and like when we're like, and this is what we talk about when we sometimes reach these impasse points with another, which is when we're in a healthy space, we navigate, and it's interesting too, because you noticed how I started talking and my throat chakra started like blocking up. When we're not being sensible, we have unreasonable demands, right? And our own ability of identifying what feels like an energetically unreasonable demand is it's having to feel and understand the satisfaction of the self, right? And I keep on seeing that when we have feelings, we work in terms of being consistent in our feelings, right? Because the consistency that we build in our choices allows a context by which another feels safe in our embrace. Because when we are not consistent in our choices, we become fickle. And what is fickleness? Fickleness is the moment that it's not like, and it's hard sometimes because when someone's being fickle, it's not that they're not being inauthentic, but that they're too changeable in what it is that they want, right? And it makes it and sometimes creates that feeling that we get exhausted because it feels like it's impossible to keep up. You know what I mean? Like you have those moments where it's like, we change one moment to a next, and then everybody, like, the energy around us is like very frustrated, and it's like the energy saying like, but I changed my mind. And it's like, yeah, it's not about changing your mind. It's about being consistent in your choices, right? Because being consistent in our choices creates constancy as it relates to how we experience each other, right? And so when we're too energetically adaptable, it can be very frustrating, right? Because it's not that someone isn't being authentic, but that you don't know what to expect from one moment to the next. You know what I mean? Like you don't know what to expect from one moment to the next. And and I need to point this out. At sometimes, like when it's not important, it's delightful like that. Like someone keeps us on their toes. But when we're fickle about important things, then it feels like it feels like it can be its own it can create its own space of working through the inconsistency that we have in navigating another. And so I feel like this is a conversation that you need to have with someone about um, working through their own preference and helping them build a sense of the reward of constancy in their choices, right? Because that, and I need to point this out, you know, when we honor, like, and it's funny too, because as you may recognize, um, we talked a bit about in the daily collective read. If you caught it, if you missed the daily collective read, I would definitely ask you to go back and make sure you listen to today's daily collective read, because we were having a lot of conversations as it relates to working through grit. And we were talking about grit, which is grit. Grit is working into the space of navigating through something that isn't easy, but allowing for the effort of our determination to allow us to get better as we navigate frustration. And so I feel like I almost see you navigating a situation or circumstance where someone has like a very low frustration tolerance, right? But it's like, having helping someone understand that finding the ability to work through frustration has its own reward. you know like I keep on seeing, it's almost like someone, like I keep on hearing, like that's why when someone says to us and sees something that we've done and they say, wow, you're so lucky, like I almost feel like you saying to someone, like it almost feels like it's insulting, because someone being like, I almost see someone saying it's not luck, it's determination, right? it doesn't come easily. It's something that puts a lot of work in. And I can almost see you having to navigate a situation where someone is always like, is feeling both mutually frustrated that they're not good at something, but also lacking the determination to get better at it. And I keep on seeing like that's what you have to show them. You have to help them understand and say those go in hand, right? Like the energy around you that's good at things, they're not good at things because they're lucky. They're good at things because they work through the resilience point, through their frustration to get better at it. I want to give you some bottom of, and it almost feels like having to navigate someone who's like too quick to give up on themselves, right? And I feel like that's what you have to say to make that conversation not feel critical, but amplifying, which is like, don't give up on yourself so easily. Like work through that context. Yeah, especially with this two of pentacles and its reversal. I almost see some kind of circumstance or situation where, and this is what I talk about. Like this is what we talk about here. When someone is like in that space where they can't navigate frustration, then as soon as they feel frustration, they walk away. And then they come back and they feel better again. And they're like, oh, well, I'm not frustrated anymore. But that's the thing. You can't avoid frustration, right? If this is a situation where someone's like, well, you got me upset, being like, and I keep on hearing, we never move out of character, right? Like the solution to a situation is never saying, well, you just can't get me angry or you just shouldn't frustrate me like that, because there's no context by which we exist and engage with one another where we don't make each other frustrated or we don't make each other upset. It's not about avoiding being upset. It's not about avoiding being angry. That's not a solution. That's an avoidance strategy. So it's working through something in a way that feels like it's productive. And I kind of see something here that it feels like you're having to say to someone like, you know, I know you say like, and I need to express this. If this is a situation that someone's saying, well, when I get like that, I have no control of myself, then you have to say to them, that's something that you're articulating you need help with, right? Because the moment that we articulate and say, well, I can't control how I behave in the moment that you make me upset or frustrated, that is literally saying someone saying I need external support in learning how to do that, right? So make sure that you're identifying and articulating where that work is. Thank you so much for having that reading with me, user. And if this message connected to you as well, it's very common for those who need these messages to be here to experience them. We are doing personal readings right now. If you would like to get on the list is open. It is 3 cards for a donation of 28 or more, 4 cards for a donation of 22 or more for my subscribers. And I keep on hearing, listen, there's something about those conversations, user. Make sure that they're productive. Make sure they're not coming through in a critical way. Like help someone see and like I keep on saying, help someone understand how you are experiencing something, right? Don't I keep on hearing, don't be in a space of recognizing or feeling like you're projecting out. Be able to say, like, look, I want to give you a clarification point on what I experienced so that we can find a better way of doing something, right? And like I keep on hearing, make sure that's a conversation. And I keep on hearing, use the we. Say, don't make someone feel isolated in that conversation. Say, I want to understand how we can do something better. Because sometimes in the space of being able to say we, like I feel like there's some kind of defensiveness around a person. They're not gonna, like, it's gonna almost allow that context of saying, like, look, I'm not blaming you for this. I want to work with you on it, if that helps. Thank you so much again, user, for having that reading with me. And if this message connected to you as well, it's very common for those who need these messages to be here to experience them. We are doing personal readings right now. If you'd like to get on the list is open. I probably got room for one more person on the list for today. If you would like to get on the list, the next person on the list for today is New. New, if you're here, can you respond in all caps? Let me know if you'd like a general reading or if you have a specific question you'd like me to answer. Adam, thank you so much for all of those beautiful gifts during the reading. I love that little cloud. I love the little cloud. And I'm going to take a minute to read over the comments. Also, friends, we're at 31.5K likes. When we get to 50K, I will be doing a giveaway and gifting a free reading back to the collective. So make sure you're tapping that screen. Also, I thank you for tapping the screen. When you tap the app also pushes this live out to those in the community. So thank you so much for that support. And just taking a moment to read over some of the comments that came through as I was giving that reading. I've got you new. And thank you guys. Jenny, your subscription's ending soon if you'd like to renew, as is yours, Mr. David. You're so welcome, user. Again, thank you for having that reading with me and wishing you the best of luck on your journey. And thank you for becoming the title gifter, Adam. Hi there, Nusrat. I'm going, and if I'm saying your name incorrectly, by all means, always feel free to correct me. Am I going to get the job that I interviewed on Thursday? Oh, exciting. Can I get 3 cards, please, in relationality to what to expect in terms of work? I want to stress that I'm seeing something here. Listen, I want you to recognize and identify. I feel like something's coming together, but not on the timeline that you expected on. Okay? So I keep on hearing that there's something about this that's almost saying like, yes, but not yet is what I'm getting. So I want you, listen to me, I want you to navigate anything with a sense of grace and tenacity, because I keep on seeing that there's something about this here that might not necessarily be occurring on the timeline that you expect, but I am seeing a yes around something. So I keep on hearing, remember, a no is not a no. A no right now for you is a not yet. There's something about this here. I keep on hearing, let me know if anything changes. There's something about navigating a space of adaptability on something right now because I kind of see a situation where you're knocking on all doors on this, right? Like I keep on seeing something here that you're just like, there's a pathwork of determination that I see you like becoming someone very recognizable to them, because because you keep on stepping forward, because I keep on seeing, because you keep on throwing your hat into the ring, right? Like there's something about you doing something in multitudes here that I keep on hearing your name starts getting recognized, because I keep on hearing someone saying, isn't that the same? And someone being like, yes. And then being like, oh, they really want to like, it's like, I keep on seeing that there's something that's coming to you that is amplified by your eagerness in doing something. And I keep on seeing again and again and again, and being like, and there's something about the familiarity that I'm identifying around a circumstance where you're always like, you're very present, and you continue to return back to something that almost like allows a context of someone understanding your energetic eagerness to be in a certain space or location. So that's why I'm saying, if something doesn't go exactly the way that you expect it to the first time, remember, I keep on hearing, and this has been coming through a bit right now. It's not a no, it's a not yet. It's like, I keep on hearing about something, keep on knocking, right? Keep on doing something here, because I keep on seeing that there might be a situation here where I keep on hearing there's definitely an energetic place for you, but it might not be in that locationality. I keep on seeing like it's almost them trying to identify and articulate what that sweet spot is. Bottom of the deck. Is there a move imminent? Is there a location change here? Make sure that you're giving an energetic address that is in proximation to the locationality. is what I keep on getting. Right? I feel like there's a resistance point as it relates to the location that you're in versus the location where they are. So they're saying like, don't that is like if there's something here, if you really want that position, make sure that you're doing something that like articulates to them that you have an energetic location in proximity to the specified locationality, because I keep on seeing something is going to come together after you move somewhere, because there's anxiety as it relates right now to your locationality and the proximity or the immediateness that they're looking to like fill an energetic position. So just that's really mindful. Like I keep on seeing, like I keep on hearing location, location, location. It's not due to a lack of desire. It's a logistic. I keep on hearing it's a logistical concern. So remove, next time you do something, they're saying remove the logistical barrier, if that makes sense. Thank you so much for having that reading with me, New. And if this message connected to you as well, it's very common for those who need these messages to be here to experience them. We are doing personal readings right now. If you would like to get on the list is open. I've got room for maybe one more personal reading today. If someone would like a personal reading, we're also going to open it up right now to one card readings for subscribers. If you would like to become a subscriber, you can hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to become a subscriber, you can hit you can hit that subscribe button at the bottom of the screen and you'll be added to the list. You can request your question. I'm going to take a moment to read over some of the comments that came through as I was reading. All right. It was a heart rain cloud. I loved it, Adam. It was so cute. Thank you. And Bella, your subscription's ending soon if you'd like to renew. Soul, thank you so much for that heart. Thank you for confirmation, dear. I can see, and that's why I keep on seeing, don't give up on this, because I see you there, just not potentially on the timeline that you're expecting, if that makes sense. Yes, I've applied to so many jobs in the same locationality. Thank you for confirmation. Thank you for that. And sounds like a hurry up and wait situation. I mean, it's giving me like that's what I keep on seeing, like a lot of like continue to put a lot of energetic tenacity to something, like because I keep on getting a yes, just not necessarily on the timeline you're expecting. May your glimmers be more frequent than your triggers. Oh my gosh, solutions. I absolutely adore that. I'm going to pin that. Thank you for that beautiful. Oh, it won't let me pin it. What a beautiful message. I adore that. Thank you, Darren. Thank you for those gifts. I wish. No wishes, Adams. Thank you, solutions. You're welcome. I have to move somewhere. Thank you. Yes, not exact location, but the surroundings. Because now my ex is selling the house. Thank you for confirmation, New. And again, I keep on seeing something about you giving a locationality that's in proximity is going to create some kind of breakthrough there. Solutions. I have everything I need around me. I love that. Tap to claim as well, especially when relocating. Thank you for confirmation, dear. And hi there, Iman. Welcome. Again, I keep on hearing there's a yes here, just not on the timeline you're expecting. So continue to be persistent as it relates to trying to move into that locationality. Can I please? Absolutely. And thank you, Bridget. One card, please, for Bridget. And just a reminder, if anybody else would like to get on the list right now, we have room for one more person to have a reading. One card for Bridget. On love, please. Highest priority messages from Spirit. I keep on getting the same message when I read for you right now, Bridget. Step out of your comfort zone. Now's a time to do new things, to do things in ways that you haven't done before. I keep on seeing something about stepping out of your comfort zone is bringing some kind of new energetic connection to you. Thank you, Denise, for helping me reach my crown goal. Don't get frustrated, right? And I keep on hearing I got to tell you right now, Bridget, there's something that's coming through in a lot of these messages. I feel like the guides have been trying to deliver a message to you over the last few days in relationality to, and I keep on getting the message every time I read for you. Have the day you're having, not the day you expected to have, which is saying to me, if you find yourself in, if you're finding yourself in like a bizarre situation or you're working through a frustration, they're saying, don't put your head down, put your head up, look around, right? Because I keep on hearing there's a little bit of work that's happening to you right now, which is, I keep on seeing like, um, and they're saying to me, it's like a unifying message in relationality to a lot of the things that have been occurring, which is like moments of sublimity, right? And what's a sublime moment? Something that we didn't expect to happen. And then, then like, you know, I'm working through frustration and then suddenly having like something incredible happen as a result of it. So they're saying, embrace the sublime right now. Thank you, Bridget. Susie, may I have a card on my relationship? What does spirit want to say? Woo, that's so many cards. That's not one card. We're going to read all of them because that's what we do. You know, here's the like I feel like there's something that I keep on hearing. There's something really important. Thank you for the. I miss our fish, but I appreciate the octopus, Bridget. Um, you know, I keep on seeing. I keep on hearing like there's something I'm seeing that's happening. Like this is like effectively these cards I'm seeing right now, Susie, as it relates to right relationship. Is if wishes were horses, beggars would ride. And what does that mean? It means we don't wish for things to be better. We just make them better, right? We don't worry, we don't get lost in the space of expounding upon what we wish was different. We talk about what's practical. So make sure that you're not wishing for things. Make sure that you're talking in ways to actually make something more possible or productive. Bottom of the deck on this reading. Yeah, again, especially about like nostalgia for the past, right? Like it's not about agonizing with what you wish you could do differently. It's just doing it differently, right? It's not about apologizing. It's about doing the things necessary so that you don't need to apologize, right? So I keep on seeing like if there's something like I keep on hearing instead of apologies, new rules, right? Be like, okay, look, I don't need an apology. Let's just make a new rule so that never happens again. So thank you so much for having that reading with me, Susie. And thank you for being a subscriber. And thank you for the heart, Susie. All right. Chrissy, may I have a card regarding the connection? Highest priority messages from spirit, please. Come on. I know you want to come out. Thank you for that gift, Ava. This is every time I read for this energy, I kind of get the same thing, which is, I feel like you gave someone, I feel like you articulated to someone a need and they miss you, but they also understand. I keep on seeing like, it's not the fact that they don't know what the work is. I feel like there's somebody who's just like really hoping that you'll change your mind about something, particularly around a standard that you're holding. Yeah, you see that? Like, you see this resistance? It's not due to a lack of clarity. This person understands what you're asking for. There's just a real resistance to change, is what I keep seeing. Thank you so much for having that reading with me, Chrissy, and thank you for being a subscriber. All right. Hold on a moment. Solutions. I submitted to time working for me, even when my expectations aren't met. Going nowhere fast, so no good. I submitted to time working for me, even when my expectations aren't met. Going nowhere fast, no good. Well, I feel like, yeah, I mean, like, again, I want you to think in the space of assuming that time's on your side on things solutions, if that's what you're clarifying. I love to work in that company. And that's why I said, keep on putting energy there. I see you there, just not on the timeline you expect. That is bars, as the kids say it. Love it. I like that bars, Addie. And thank you, the design for the follow. Hey, Ava, may I have a card on how best to approach a conversation? Absolutely. One card for Ava, please. I mean, it feels like I'm not sure where you left something, but having to articulate and say like the fact that you've been what you've been thinking about in the time intervening. I almost see some kind of situation of saying like I've been taking a lot of consideration into what we talked about. You know, bottom of the deck. Yeah, I would say like if this is a continuing conversation, having to say like, what the intervening work has been or how you've changed in the time, like as to where you left something. If there's been something here that's changed or you're viewing something in a different way, they're saying to me that could be the icebreaker. You're so welcome, New, and sending you so much support on that journey. Thank you, Denise, for the crowns. Bridget, me watching a puppy is way out of my comfort zone. That is very true. You're doing a great job, though. That has definitely been my week. Definitely everything has been unexpected. No, I've seen that. That's why the message is coming through. You're so welcome, dear. One card for Grace. Highest priority messages from Spirit, please. Be consistent, right? I feel like sometimes, like for you right now, I don't see, like for you, I feel like a breakthrough right now is being energetically consistent, right? It's holding a pose. It's being able to do something and then feel feel the energetic stability of the self, feeling secure in your decisions right now. So I want you to really focus on that. Yeah, like I keep on seeing like, your ability to be consistent in relationality to expectations within the self are helping others build security and trust in you as well, right? Like the more we feel stable with ourselves, the more others feel stable around us. So continue. I keep on hearing continue to ground your energy, right? Thank you, Grace. Susie, one moment, please. The universe is like, stop overthinking and start working. Exactly. You can do both. Susie, you can do both. You can overthink and work. Okay. Welcome to Jupiter and Gemini. Hi there, and Theo. How are you doing today? Can I get one card for advice on what to do in regard to BB and finances? Would it be safe and good to meet him in person, or should I just start looking for other things? Okay. I mean, I feel like I feel like I keep on hearing having a conversation about your bandwidth changing. You know what I mean? And I keep on seeing like being able to say, like having to articulate that something has changed. Like it feels a little bit like is this an encroaching situation? It almost feels like something that you agreed upon is becoming bigger than you expected. So they're saying set those healthy expectations as it relate. I keep on hearing like reaffirm what the energetic commitment was at the start of something to show how far something has deviated from it, right? Yeah, like that's the thing. Like I keep on hearing like there needs to be a communication point between you and them as to what you agreed upon versus what they're asking for at this time. So they're saying like now might be a good time to have a recalibrating conversation. Ella, general, please. Ella. Don't get triggered. I'm going to say the same thing I've been saying this whole time. Just because the eclipse is over, we're still going through this energy. Sometimes it's even more easy to get triggered now, right? So Just articulate upon, like, recognize what is a productive conversation versus a conversation that's just trying to trigger you. Bottom of the deck. Yeah, especially with the high priestess and its reversal. I just see some kind of circumstance or situation, like, it's like, if there's a conversation that's not going anywhere that you understand is just trying to energetically provoke you, you don't need to be around for it, you know? Like, and again, it's not polite to insist upon the need for a conversation. You get to decide what is a healing conversation versus a non-healing one, especially if someone's saying that they want to have a conversation to close, to get closure. We don't have conversations for closure. We have conversations to open things back up again. So you get to decide what closure feels like. Thank you, and Theo. And thank you again, Adam, for those gifts. You're so welcome, Chrissy. Hi there, Jonathan. Wow, Chrissy, this resonates with me as well. We see the issue, and yet. Hi there, Carmen. Hold on a minute. Will I be able to figure out how to buy the hydro? I have no idea what that is, but let me let me see. I mean, what do you need to know around that situation? I mean, everything's possible, but you got to recognize what you have to, like, budget. What are you going to cut back on? you know, you gotta understand, like, what you're going to cut out in order to be able to navigate it. You know, yeah, it feels like, it's like it's possible. It's just requiring belt tightening. You got to move some stuff around. Everything's possible. It's all about, like, what you're gonna remove so that you can have that. I feel like it also is requiring someone else's buy-in. It feels to me like you need to get your pitch together. You need to, like, tell someone. You need to have a conversation with someone as to why it's going to save you I keep on. You have to have a conversation with someone as it relates to how it's going to actually save you money in the long run. Is what I keep on hearing. That's how like, you have to like have that. You have to pitch it to someone. Is what I see. I have a go button that's like the Energizer Bunny. No, I know, Grace. But that's why I think, again, I feel like it's interesting because I read for you and you guys are always like, ground the energy, right? So true. Thank you, Susie. Can the puppy be taken for a walk, or dog part might give away to meet new love? Yeah, there you see. Look at Chrissy. Look at Chrissy thinking out of the box. There you go. At least it's an opportunity for growth. Thank you for the compliment, Ella. All right, my friends. True. Thank you so much. You're so welcome, Ella. All right, my friends. Final call right now for anyone who would like a reading, or if there's anyone who is a subscriber who has not had a card pulled today. If you would like to become a subscriber, you just hit my name at the bottom of the screen and hit that subscribe button. You'll be added to the list. I want to thank you guys so much for being here today and sharing in these messages. If Irma, absolutely. One card for Irma, please. Highest priority messages from Spirit. Listen, you can get, like, your feelings are not a burden so long as you're bringing with them their prescription. So long as you're articulating, so long as you're doing the work to understand what the feelings are asking for, right? And not just feeling them. Like, as long as you're communicating the feelings with directions, it's not, your feelings are not a burden for someone that's invested in doing the same work as you. I keep on hearing, yeah. And if another person says that what you're asking for is too much, then I keep on hearing like, in that moment, like, clarity, like, someone that doesn't want the same things as us. The song we hear, right? The song we hear when someone doesn't want the same things as us is, you're asking for too much. Remember, the song you'll hear when someone doesn't want the same things as us is, you're asking for too much. So just be mindful of that. Thank you as well, Irma, for having that reading with me, and thank you for being a subscriber. Brandy, I'm happy to pull a card for you if you'd like to become a subscriber. These are subscriber only readings right now. So if you'd like to hit that subscribe button, I'm happy to give you a card. Jenny, Is Tom still too toxic to be around? What's going on with that energy? I mean, they they're loner. You know what I mean? They have to get over that feeling like it's them against the world. Every time they say it's like everything's against me, be like, yeah, because you're looking at things like that. You know? It's giving me a little bit of like rebel without a cause energy. It's like, if they're going to continue to feel like it's them against the world, it's like they have to recognize it's because they feel like that because that's how they view things. Um, you know, eh, Bottom of the deck, I can see someone that feels like I would be curious about this person's Sagittarius placements because I almost see someone that says, "Look how strong I am. I can walk away," and they're failing to recognize that strength is not found in the ability to walk away. Strength is the ability to remain and navigate something that is energetically difficult. So just, again, make sure that someone's not trying to withdraw to try to get some kind of change out of you, right? We don't give, I keep on hearing the silent treatment gets nothing, right? We don't play keep away with our energy. It's not like, it's not like I keep on seeing that. Like I keep on hearing something about it like you'll like silence until conditions approve, like that's nothing. Like that's what I mean. That's the type of energy I'm seeing here. Like that's not healthy. Thank you so much for having that reading with me and thank you for being a subscriber. All right. One card for Addie. No, you don't have to wait, dear. I got you. Everybody's got this right now. You have to help someone understand. It's not just about talking about how you feel. I keep on seeing this happening. Being like, I'm just honoring my feelings. No, don't get it. It's not honoring your feelings to just talk about how you feel at every minute, right? Because when we honor our feelings, we don't just talk about how we feel. We work to understand why we feel the things we do, right? And that's like the energy being like, I'm just being honest. And it's like it's not about being honest. It's about being self-aware. It's about being kind, right? Like I feel like you have to help someone understand that honoring feelings isn't just talking about how you feel all the time. It's about navigating how others might receive things, you know? Yeah, it feels a little bit like you have to act as like translator for someone, like helping them understand why someone might take something the wrong way. I see someone being like, I was just being honest, be like, it's not about being honest. Honesty is not a gift. It's how you deliver honesty that is the gift. Thank you so much for having that reading with me, Addie, and thank you for being a subscriber. All right. I feel like it's not, yeah, I agree solutions. It's working to understand ourselves better, right? And I think that's what you mean about not stopping at half truths, but working to take things apart in order to understand them better. If you go back to our daily collective, that was everything we were talking about today. Thank you as well, Irma. Yes, the world feels against you because they're against themselves. Exactly. I mean, you understand solutions. And Brandy, thank you for subscribing. Thank you for confirmation, Jen. And you're so welcome, Jen. Yes, I love it. Yes, this so resonates. Thank you, Addie. This has been the most challenging day of my life. Puppies will do that, Bridget. You're doing a great job. We are all proud of you. You have to walk the walk. Yep, exactly. Tap to claim. You're so welcome, Addie. I got you, Brandy. And Cajun, thank you for the follow. All right. And can you let me know, Brandy, if you'd like a general reading or if you have a specific question you'd like me to answer? Not everyone speaks properly. I mean, I don't like to say it's not that not everyone speaks properly. I feel that sometimes it's easy to be misunderstood, right? And so working in the context of being able, like that's a lot of the work that we're navigating right now in this cycle is working to be energetically clear and the patience it takes to do so. General for Brandy, please. One card for Brandy General. Highest priority messages from Spirit. You know, like, there's no rejection. You know, if you're bringing honesty, if you're trying your authenticity, like, remember, rejection is an illusion. If your authenticity moves someone away from you, that's not someone that's for you. You know, recognize that again, if you're disappointing someone, like, ask the question, what were they expecting? You know, bottom of the deck. Yeah, right? Like, again, when we it's I feel like it's working through the difference between someone that says, you know, I just I just won't, like, difference between someone that says, I know what's best for you versus I want what's best for you. You know what I mean? Like, this is giving me someone being like, well, I was just telling you what everyone else wouldn't tell you. Again, it's like, it's not, we don't work in that context. Like, understand and recognize what feels like. It's not about being honest, it's about being kind. The kindness that we bring to something is like working in the context that, like, we don't expect things from each other beyond the ability to articulate what they are. And so it's giving me a little bit of that energy of having a productive conversation with someone, and almost like not being triggered, but say, why would you say that like that? Like, what are you inferring? Like, don't let someone create a space where you feel like you constantly have to read between the lines of what they're saying and what they're asking for. I keep on hearing, say it with your chest or don't say it at all. Thank you so much for having that reading with me, and thank you for becoming a subscriber today. Welcome to the collective. All right. And thank you again, Brandy. I just threw him a frozen sock, so that should give me at least 5 minutes. I'm proud of you, Bridget. And Ocean Waves, thank you for the follow. My friends, final call right now for anyone who is a subscriber who has not had a card pulled today. I want to thank you guys so much for being here today and receiving these messages. And Theo, you're so welcome, Ella. And thank you, and Theo. I hope you have a beautiful weekend as well. Just a reminder, I got you, Gia. One card for Gia, please. Two cards coming out for Gia. One moment. Ooh, what's going on here? What's this? Who are these people? Um, eh. You know, here's the thing. Like, again, I get the same message. It's not polite to insist. Just because someone's being nice to you, like, that is not courtesy, right? It's not about being nice. It's recognizing that courteous is not insisting on things. So this is basically a message that says, just because someone's nice to you doesn't mean you have to step into you don't have to, like, break your boundaries because someone's being nice. If they're being insistent, that's not polite, is what I keep getting. Bottom of the deck. Yeah, if you've articulated to someone once what you're not comfortable with and they keep pushing, you don't need to repeat yourself. Like, like, that's the thing. Like, you don't need to restate a boundary. It's, in fact, it is very impolite to have to say no thank you more than once if you've articulated something. That's not you being rude, that's them being rude. Thank you so much for having that reading with me, and thank you for being a subscriber. My friends, I want to thank you guys so much for being here today and sharing in these messages. Just a reminder, if you missed the daily collective read, it'll be up later today on the place where we keep the photos. It'll also be up on the place where we keep the videos. It'll also be up as a podcast over on my spot at Tarot Church and over on my Substack. For those who became a subscriber today, welcome. Thank you for joining the collective. I would encourage you to head over to our subscriber-only Discord channel, introduce yourself to the collective in our landing page. And if you head over to our perks channel, you will find a special coupon code there if you'd like an additional discount in signing up to the Tarot Church class program over on our Substack. Our next live class will be held on Wednesday, April 16th at 6 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. Eastern. So if you join the classwork now, you'll have access to the library so you can start to bone up on the classes we've already had, and you can join us there. We will be off tomorrow, but we'll be back on Monday at 8 a.m. PST, 11 a.m. Eastern. If you would like to be notified as to when I will be live, you can head over to my profile. If you're joining us on the Clock app, you can hit that bell at the top of my screen to turn on notifications. You can also register directly for the event. Sometimes the app doesn't like to push notifications, so registering for the event is the best way to be notified when I've gone live. Also, if you'd like to follow me across the other social channels, I would encourage you to head over and join me through them via my link tree, because I recognize that I have a lot of accounts that pretend to be me. So the best way to make sure you're actually following me on the other apps is by making sure that you head over through my tree. I want to thank you guys so much for being here today and sharing in these messages. Huge thank you. Thank you so much, Well, for joining us as well. Huge thank you to my followers, old and new. Thank you for spending your afternoon with me and sharing in these messages. Huge thank you to my subscribers. Your ongoing support means the absolute world to me, and thank you so much for all of my help from my moderators. I hope you guys have an absolutely beautiful day. Please take care of yourselves. Please take care of one another, and we will do this again on Monday. Have a great day, everyone, and take care.